Mine's actually an expensive webcam, but I've been using it for the last year and a half, so that's why it's shit in the bed now. Well, anyway, we are live. We are live. Welcome to the Geekiest Theoreticus podcast. Hello, Nathan and the Nameless Scholar. Oh, Nameless Scholar. I don't see you a ton these days. How are you doing, man? And Nathan, thank you for being the awesome person you are, being first to the stream. You're owning the title of simp with rather well, my friend. What is hate? That's also Zelix on Discord. How is it going? All woke up just in time to catch a stream. Nice. We appreciate it. We appreciate having a good viewership and turnout for our podcasts.
Hopefully we'll be doing the podcast we planned last week, which is my fault.
Yeah, I just chilled with chat, hung out, talked for a bit. Tried to cover the dead air. But it was fine, that's a filler episode, 10.5, And today's the actual official episode 11. And we're just covering the topic we were planning on covering last time, which is best 40k gear, tech, and mechs. Just the cool stuff. The really cool stuff. Also,
the stuff that makes us really go autistically nerdy. I wish it was a joke, but I know at least one of the things I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna sound like the worst kind of autist because I have the actual book reference.
Overlord Inquisitor says, "Hail Aspergon! Hail Overlord Inquisitor! Welcome to the podcast." Murderous Kitten as well, welcome. Draven, welcome. Just painting Black Templar Plague Marines while listening. Splendid, my friend. Overlord Inquisitor says, "Hail, Lutus!"
How's it going, Overlord Inquisitor?
Mustafa. So what happened with Lutus? Overslept?
So last week, essentially, I slept through 3 alarms and didn't wake up till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. I was worried. I was like, is he dead? Is he dead and nobody told me? Like, this would be really awkward.
That was this week.
But yeah, he just overslept. It's a common mistake people make. Happens from time to time. No big deal whatsoever. By the way, if you guys want me to turn off my webcam, just let me know, because I know it's kind of shit in the bed. I ordered a new one, which I really couldn't afford to buy, but I'll make cuts other places for my weekly expenses, hopefully to fit the cost. But yeah, if you guys get annoyed that it's blinking in and out or has these little bars that pop up, just let me know. I'll turn it off, and well, I don't know. I'll just put my icon in its place. Moraine, welcome to the stream. Glad to see the geeks back together. Well, we were only separated for like what, a week?
Yeah.
So not a huge deal.
At least I didn't have the problems I was having earlier, the health problems I was having earlier this week, because then I wouldn't have been here again this week.
Which would have been fine,
Well, not for me, but it was one of those things where I'm glad that shit's over with.
Well, I'm glad it's over with.
Well, at least it's over with for now.
For now. Medicine, yeah. Yeah, but this, oh my god, just looking at the feed, the webcam's bothering me. It's like, I feel so unprofessional. It's like, my tech is shitting the bed. Thing is, I had to replace the cooling unit in my computer. Because the old one was making a noise, and it has been running essentially nonstop for 2-ish years. So I was like, it's about time I replace something. So I replaced the cooling unit with a liquid cooling unit. So
yeah.
This one is the anti-leak one. I hope it does. I know that that liquid coolers had a really bad reputation for a good number of years, because even the really expensive good ones reported leaks and bursts in the tubes, like at least after a year of usage, and fried the rest of the computer. A lot of people are highly reviewing the new one I installed and saying like this is like the new generation of liquid coolers, so it won't fry my computer. I hope those reviews were not overzealous or shills. But I'm taking a chance. You know, I have faith. It seems to look good too. I checked the tubing. There's no bursts. There's no cracks. There's no shipping damage. So should be good. Although my computer was confused to fuck because it was like, there's no fan on the CPU. It's like, yeah, it's because it's a liquid thing. It's not a fan. The computer was like, well, I won't turn on. And I'm like, okay, ignore it. Okay, I'll turn on. It's like, okay. Glad to know all I had to do was tell you to ignore it. But yeah, boring shit like that out of the way. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, I don't know if you'll care about this, but my Space Marine Army little collection thing, I recently made a drastic like turn. Like instead of doing Black Templars, I'm now actually gonna do Space Wolves.
I think I saw that.
Yeah,
because I think you posted that either on Discord or the YouTube thing.
Yeah, on my YouTube community page, I put up a poll. Yeah. And the poll, I was expecting to be like 90 to 10%, like most people were going to demand Black Templars. But it was actually closer to 50-50. It was 57% wanted Black Templars still, and 43% wanted Space Wolves. And because of that, and I factored in my own opinion, I think my own opinion is worth like 10% of like the poll. So yeah. I'm like, I kind of want Space Wolves, and not because I like Space Wolves more. Definitely like Space Wolves are my second favorite chapter or / Legion. My favorite is Black Templars, but at the same time, my main army is Orcs, and especially with the Ragnar Blackmane v Ghazghkull, I was like, I kind of like that dichotomy. So I was like, wouldn't it be fitting if I had a Space Marine army and a Orc army run by Ghazghkull and the other run by Ragnar? So I just think that fits better with what I got set up.
To segue a little bit, because that's actually a really good. Segue. One of the things that I'm going to talk about as far as like my favorite tech is, of course, going to be Chaos.
Right.
The majority of it is actually probably going to be Chaos because I love Chaos.
From the dark stuff from the Dark Mechanicum, I assume, right?
Actually, no. The first one isn't. Sound or Noise Marines.
Most of the stuff I'm gonna bring up is Orcs. Like Orc tech is, I love the shit. But that's most of the stuff I'm gonna bring up is gonna be Orc tech. There's gonna be a little bit of Imperium in there. There's certain Imperium tech and mechs and stuff like that I do enjoy, but I think Orcs has got the best shit in the game. And in the lore. Not because it's actually the most functional, best designed, or cool. It's because it's a bunch of fucking scrap nailed together and welded together, and it just works. Like, for me, it just makes it all the more charming.
I think what I'm going to start out with is the equipment for the Noise Marines, because I love the origin story for it. So, I don't know if you know how Noise Marines got created.
I do not. I knew. Okay. When it comes to Noise Marines, I know very little.
Okay, so a quick little aside. Actually, my least favorite of the Chaos Gods is Slaanesh.
I do remember you mentioning that, if I recall.
Well, and that's because when I did the research, that's the only one that made me lose sleep over the shit I had to research.
A god that actually makes you afraid.
I never imagined 40k would give you PTSD, but it fucking came close. But no, so with Noise Marines, this is after Fulgrim starts getting corrupted by the Lair Blade. And because he has it on his ship, everyone starts getting corrupted. He has a Remembrancer who specializes in creating orchestra music and just creating music. And because she's getting corrupted by Slaanesh, she creates this music, and it ends up making people start killing each other.
The best kind of music. Heavy metal. If you listen to the old Protestant Christians, it's like that heavy metal is violence. It's like, no, this is better than violence.
Well, no, so the music literally opened a portal right to the warp right there. And then Slaaneshi demons started pouring out and joining in on the murder. In fact, the Remembrancer and the 5 band members ended up all getting possessed by demons. And so when they dropped their instruments, the Astartes that were in the crowd did the only sane thing they could do and pick up the instruments and continue playing. And those were the first Noise Marines.
Beautiful background. That's the bad shit craziness of 40K that I miss, like that you don't really see now. Like
yeah,
I that's when their lore's the best. Is either when it's super like dark and melodramatic, like with the Horus Heresy stuff, or when it's super fucking over the top crazy, like with orcs, anything from the orcs, most of the chaos stuff, and I think some Dark Eldar stuff is kind of in a fun, very creeped out way.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of crazy over the top. Those are like the 3 that I think are best for like lore sources for just hyperbolic nutty shit. That is actually really fun. You don't see that because they focus so much on the Space Marines, and now instead of Horus Heresy, like fun melodramatic and honor and fighting for the Imperium stories, now it's a lot less charming. Now it's kind of like they're hitting the dead horse, like just.
Yeah,
it's doing you have to do it either. You have to really like change it up a little, and they at least with Space Marines, like with Space Marines, their lore is kind of always told in a similar way, and there's not a lot of variety. And I wish they would do that, and because there's a large variety of chapters that you can take different takes on. Like they always tell each chapter though kind of similarly, especially if they're loyalist. Right? It's like, oh, they're warriors who are questioning their humanity and fighting the forces of chaos for humanity and for the Imperium. And then there's always like that stuff, and it's usually melodramatic, as I keep saying. But it's just they really need to mix it up. Like there's no chapters that just have a little bit of fun. Just slaughtering demons and orcs and stuff. Like, can you depict it that way? I mean, I know the community makes those jokes and that kind of humor, but come on, can't you
make it lore friendly?
just add it in somewhere. I mean, come on. There's so many chapters that would work with, and they just don't do it.
Can we put Reclusiarch Grimaldus in a drop pod by himself in the middle of an orc wog and him just walk out of the center of it carrying a head?
That would be beautiful.
That's actually something I could believe.
Oh.
Could take out an orc wog, it would probably be Reclusiarch Grimaldus.
Definitely. And it would be beautiful to see. At least read. Again, I think I would love it if the Black Library would just release something fun. And the fucking Warhammer Adventures doesn't count at all. And I'm not saying like abandon the grimdark style, by the way. You could still tell a dark comedy. Like death, destruction, maiming, but have some like ironic humor in there. They really are just too dry.
And I also think that my reign is misunderstanding what happened. It's not that they just started playing the music, it's that they were already getting corrupted by chaos at this point. So, in fact, the Noise Marines, the first time they were actually used in battle.
Thank you, Telkri.
Do what?
Telkri just donated $30 for the new webcam. I appreciate it. That'll help buffer the cost. But keep in mind, we do appreciate the donation. So thank you very much. Thank you. Good thing I have like the Streamlabs view open because I forgot again to pull up the Streamlabs dashboard. Every stream I forget to pull it up, and there we go. Okay, there it's up.
But yeah, so they were already getting corrupted like crazy because of the Lair Blade. So it wasn't that they just, they're like, oh, look, demons, fuck that, we're going to keep playing music. It's more of, oh, hey, they're joining in the fun. We will too.
Alright, let's welcome anybody who might have hopped in while we're doing that. So Marine, we already welcomed you. Billy Mount, welcome to the stream. Have you heard that the host of Jeopardy passed away? Yes, Alex Trebek did pass away. which was kind of like seriously 2020. Like this at this point, I'm convinced before January 1st, 2021, we're gonna see like a slew of respectable people die. Sean Connery, Alex Trebek.
You know who
we're probably gonna lose like everybody else with any kind of major significance that anybody still remotely likes.
I'm gonna put money down. If Betty White and Keith Richards both don't die this year, they're never going to.
I won't take that bet because I think you're right.
They're I believe they are actually Adam and Eve, and they just keep like either some like from the TV show Supernatural or like some like 40K perpetual bullshit that they don't actually die. They just keep changing identities.
Are you sure they're not like that now?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think that's what they are.
They'll never die. It's only a new identity every century.
Keith Richards is a coked up Vulcan.
Don't put that picture in my head.
That would make such a great reunion though with Gilliman. All you hear is Gilliman!
What's that? Draven says, I'm not going to play as the Death Guard. I'm just going to display them because I'm clueless about them. That's fine. You know, no one says you have to play them. Actually, there are quite a few people. Actually, I would say not the majority, but a good chunk of the 40K, like, in terms of, like, tabletop collection, I think a good chunk of people, especially since during COVID right now, a lot of their collections are just display pieces. Not permanently, but a lot of people have... a lot of people who collect the miniatures and paint them and assemble them. I know a good chunk of people who don't even have interest in the tabletop that just collect the minis to paint them and to have them as a display piece. Ironically, some of them have like the biggest collections too.
I just found that funny. Like the ones who play have smaller armies than the people who get them to collect.
Yep. To be fair, some of the people who collect armies to play and then they decide they don't like the army they collected, so they sell the minis. Well, collectors will buy those minis, and if they don't like the paint job, you know, they'll just put them in some nail polish remover with acetone, and it'll strip the paint off so they can paint it themselves. Which, by the way, it works. By the way, it doesn't damage the plastic. It will most likely damage the super glue that's holding it together. If it's super glue, if that's what's holding the minis together. So keep in mind when you're stripping that you may also need to reapply the glue to reassemble the mini. But at the same time, if you want to completely start fresh with a set of minis that someone else painted that you bought for cheap, that's a way to do it. It's ironically, I'm sure if you factor in how much acetone you need to use to strip like a small 500-point army that someone else has painted that you bought, it probably would still be cheaper to buy that and do that process than buy them new in box.
I did find out that that in order to get the Magnus the Red miniature that I thought looked cool, I'm gonna have to drop minimum like $150 on it. I'm like, nah. Nah, I'm good.
That's okay. Yeah, I got for an unboxing video the Combat Patrol box. It's for the Space Wolves, and I was an idiot because in my hurry to make that video, because I was like, okay, I don't know of anyone else who's done a Combat Patrol unboxing. This could be a really good video to get out quick and, you know, get some eyes on it and hopefully bring people to the channel. So I was just in a rush to get it done. So I immediately flipped on the camera. I immediately threw on a mic and was just speaking, and I opened it up, and I made the idiot mistake of I was holding a chapter upgrade sprue, and for some reason my brain didn't my brain was like, we don't have any proof that that's something you know. Even though I've bought upgrade sprues. So I'm holding an upgrade sprue. I know what they look like. I've had them. And I'm like, oh, look, they're forcing, like, they're molded on the symbol of the chapter. They're forcing people who buy this to only have this chapter. And then people in the comments are like, "You're a fucking idiot. That's an upgrade sprue." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a fucking idiot." As I didn't even catch that in post. Oh, I uploaded that shit with that in there. So yeah, I put an addendum in a pinned comment. I was ready for that video to get downvoted to hell, but to my surprise, it's not. But which I'm happy about. I'm happy I'm not being downvoted to hell for that. But still,
I will say that I did. I checked out that video that you wanted me to look at, the Fallen Order video, and I have
part 2's out now.
Yeah, I have to see that and I also have to up my editing skills because
To be fair, I got more practice.
Yeah.
And I'm
and also
super obsessive and compulsive, so I sit there for like 6 hours straight and edit something.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna bullshit. To record one video and edit 9 took me all of like 3 hours. I do very low.
What, you just throw it in the editor?
Well, I throw it in the so when I first hit the record, when you hear the mouse click, I cut that off. Cut off the dead space at the end, and then I throw the Patreon list on. And that's literally all I do, unless I have to do. I had to do this actually for one of my Clan Pestilence videos this time. If I record in two sessions, because words, then I have to really look at the middle and cut that part so it goes seamlessly from one into the other. But that's about how much I had it.
Okay.
And that really comes down to it fucking sucks having a job trying to do YouTube.
Yeah, I take a while to edit personally. Wait, did my camera just?
Yep, your camera just flicked off.
Ah, joy. Hold on, people. Hold on. I think I have a replacement, a temp replacement. Oh, fuck.
Technical difficulties.
Hopefully I can force this webcam to last me until the new one arrives, which will be a while. What's a good image to put in?
I'm not gonna lie, I misread my Rain's chat. She said your camera went dark. I thought it said, I shit you not, I really thought it said your camera went dick.
Went dick?
Yeah. Look,
that would be impressive.
I mean, now look, it's my Rain. If anyone was going to say something like that, it would probably be her.
Correct.
So I was just kind of like, wait, I mean, that sounds right, but that doesn't look right.
What's a good replacement? Technical difficulties, yay.
Oh, I also found out how far was too far because I decided to change the title. You might find this a little funny. I decided to change the title of one of my Metro Exodus videos. Have you played Metro Exodus?
I started playing it when it first came out.
So you understand the concept of oh, holy shit, the whole stream kind of bugged out.
1 second. Trying to apply the artwork.
Oh no, it's fine. It bugged out real hard for.
Yeah, not surprised. Son of a. I forgot to lock that in place. Shutter.
You keep moving it above and below my cam, so it's like hi, bye.
Trying to shift it.
But so you understand the concept that's kind of like Fallout but in Russia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I played the first two, so.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I feel dumb now. So you end up I'm almost done, I think, with Metro Exodus. and you end up meeting these like tribals that remind me very dangerously of like African tribals. So I titled the original cut of the video "The Clicky Tribe."
The clicky try?
And the Clicky Tribe.
Oh. I was like, try? Like Triforce?
No, and I felt like shit because of it, so I had to change the title. I was like, nah. I've already had some things that were a little bit spicy on the Metro Exodus playthrough. I can't do that. As funny as that is, I can't do that.
Yeah, best case scenario, YouTube nukes the video. Worst case, they nuke your channel.
Yeah.
These days, it's really unsafe to even make joking titles. Like, it's really unsafe.
Hey, little Miss Cindy.
Vegeta Petra Cernan. I have no idea if I said that wrong yet again. Ginger Ninja, thank you for the generous donation. Thank you for the $39.59. Thank you. Obviously, yeah, how does a caveman socialize? Well, you hop out of your cave, you strip down naked and say, "Come at me." At least that's how I do it. I occasionally get arrested, but otherwise, sometimes my neighbors are used to it. Don't ask me. I'm not great at socializing. I mean, I try, but I'm terrible most of the time. For anyone who's hopping in just now, by the way, my webcam crapped out, so I gotta order a new one. Yay! I already did, but hopefully it'll arrive soon, and hopefully I can get this webcam to work at least for until the week is over. And thankfully, with the Let's Plays I record, I don't use the webcam anyway. Because I think my
webcam for one.
Yeah, I think my disembodied voice works better than having my face on camera. So
the only game that I use my webcam for is for Metro Exodus, and that's because people said it would be funny.
To what? See your face?
Well, during Metro Exodus, because it's also supposed to be kind of like a horror game too. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I get it, I do. And now I will say there was one episode where that was absolutely true, but the rest of them is just kind of not to me.
Mm.
When I had to go on a dungeon crawl that was filled with fucking mutated spiders, yeah, that one was pretty funny for everyone else. But not for fucking me. Not an arachnophobe. I am a little bit now.
Yeah, a friend of mine tried to spoil part of Jedi Fallen Order. He's like, by the way, you're about to deal with spider enemies. I'm like, fuck you. He didn't specify where, when, but he said there. So I have one minor spoiler, is that there are spider enemies in the game, and that pissed me off. I have since then I have recorded me playing the Dathomir planet, or at least like the initial part of it you can play early on, and I did encounter spider enemies. I didn't ask him if those were what he was referring to. I'm assuming, and they were fucking ugly little pieces of shit. Like, ugh, I hated that, but they weren't like petrifying, but
right.
They were nasty. I hated seeing those things. I hate spiders in all forms, real, fake. I don't give a shit. Which is ironic because, you know, in my Grimdark, there's a whole faction I have to write that is a spider species.
Oh, nice.
No spoilers there. They're actually one of the races I want to keep the most under wraps until the first edition of the game is ready to go. The other factions I'm more open to talk about, but their race I want to keep a little bit more on the down low.
The fuck I don't, Ginger Ninja.
What?
He said I love spiders.
You love spiders?
I don't hate spiders, but I
hate them
either.
I hate them so fucking much. There's no creature on this planet I hate more than spiders.
So let me explain the hell that was this dungeon crawl. They're kind of like a crossbreed between scorpions and spiders. And they can burrow. And they can pop up wherever the fuck they really want. And in addition to that, you have these webs that hang down that have these other radioactive spiders that look like the chest bursters from Alien. and when you walk through it, they just crawl on your screen and kind of like simulating they're crawling on your face. And when you hit that, right after the motherfuckers popping up out of the sand at random, you tend to freak the fuck out. Because at that point, even I was like, oh god, no!
Still there. I hate spiders.
When you play through Metro Exodus, you need to turn your face cam off.
It'll be a while. Like the thing is, when I first started playing Metro Exodus, I was hoping it would catch me more than it did. Like I played the first hour, 2 hours of the game, and it got my interest, but it didn't like it didn't hold me to my seat or anything. And that's what I was kind of hoping for. And because it didn't really do that, I didn't rush to play the game since. I probably should at some point, but yeah, I haven't played it since it first came out. And when I say first came out, I do mean when it was on Epic. I was so eager to play it because I played the first two. So I sold my soul and I bought it on Epic. So
I will say that there is a guide online. There's a guide online to help you like get all the gear to upgrade. That will make the game a lot more enjoyable.
To get the upgraded gear?
Yeah.
Probably.
For instance, like one of the main things is the night vision.
The night vision. I can see in the dark. I can see into your soul. You will give in.
Until someone turns on a fucking light, then it fucking sucks.
It's like
pretty much.
That was like me when I was a kid too, because my entire youth I lived in my family's basement.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a lot of like when in our first home where I grew up most of my childhood, like it was a ranch. I grew up on a ranch. I was a farmhand my entire life. Still am now. But back then, in the house we lived in, there was the basement was kind of a basement, kind of not. It wasn't like it had a bathroom. It was set up to live in. It was still a basement though. It was still like it was like below ground level. I actually had my room windows were those windows that pop up just above the ground line. You know what I'm saying? Like in like a stereotypical basement, that little square, small little window at the top of the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had those. Those were my main windows. And I was so used to like living down there. My family were actually mad that I liked being down there more than I liked being upstairs. I'm like, I got everything I need down there. There's a TV, which is an old box TV that I set up that I found in some of our old boxes. And they told me it didn't work. It worked fine. The VHS with it worked fine. Everything worked fine. I was like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. This TV works fine. So I preferred being downstairs than going upstairs where my family was. So they actually started calling me the basement gremlin. I'm like, love you guys too. Well, thank you for the nickname. The thing is, I never heard them complain during the wintertime when I had to store wood down there with me and put it in the wood stove to heat up the rest of the house. So, joke's on you. You're happy I'm a basement gremlin. Otherwise, there wouldn't be anyone there to tend the fire. Oh yeah, we also, to save money because we didn't have a lot when I was a kid, we had our own wood stove and our own well. So we supplied our own water and our own heat.
My friend had a wood they had electric heat, but they also had a wood stove.
No, we only had a wood stove. And it's not like the one you can move. Like we're talking like an industrial, like this is nailed in the floor.
Oh no, theirs was too. And during the winter they would turn off the electric heat and just use the wood stove.
Yeah, we used the wood stove year round. We couldn't really afford to be on any kind of electric heat, so we mostly stuck to the wood stove. We did get normal electricity, obviously, for like power, internet, things like that. Internet wasn't great. We lived out in the boons, so same as now, but oddly enough, our internet's actually way better where we live now. But yeah, I grew up as the basement gremlin of the family. They still call me that, even though I live on. Actually, I live upstairs now. My mom and my dad at our current home, since I moved in with them. Because when I first moved out, I could afford to, but now that I'm doing what I'm currently doing, I had to move back in, had to swallow my pride, which is great. I was expecting my dad to shit down my neck when I said, "Hey, can I move back in with you guys? Because I'm gonna do something stupid and try and do YouTube full time." And my dad actually didn't shit down my neck like I was expecting, which is still unnerving to, because like the one person I expected to be on my case about it the most was my dad. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you quit a job, you're making $600 a week to come live with your family again. He's not commented about it really. We still chat, we still hang out. It's almost like he's happier I'm home, but with that man, I don't trust that. It might just be he's just keeping his mouth shut to be nice. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard because my dad is the same way. Like, so you might get a kick out of this. So my dad, he knows jack shit about 40K, and
Same with my dad.
And my mom was trying to be helpful because I was trying to explain to her like how long it takes me to do 5 videos a week. Now, realistically, the part that takes me the longest, recording, editing, and uploading the gameplay videos, all 4 of them will take me probably about 4 to at most 8 hours a week. And that is including everything from the recording to the editing to the uploading, the thumbnail, all of it. The part that takes the longest is the lore video because I've got to fucking script it and research it. So my mom goes, well, why don't you just have your dad research it for you? He's good at researching. Like, you're literally telling me to ask dad to research something he has no knowledge about. We'll probably end up researching the points that I don't need. And all it'll do is frustrate both of us and just cause fights to make my life easier. Yeah! So I told Dad about it, and Dad's like, no, you're exactly right. I don't really know, and I don't really want to know. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, my dad wouldn't do my dad's philosophy in life is he doesn't do anything for people, especially if they're capable of doing it for themselves. So, for example, like the first time I needed to change the tires on my car, my dad didn't do it for me. My dad said, if I'm doing anything for you, you're paying me. And he says, and I don't work cheap. Translation, do it yourself. So what he'll do is he'll show you how to do something. He'll sit down and help you the first time. Second time, he's like, don't you remember what I showed you? And then you'll be like, no. He went, oh, that's it. That's unfortunate. Like, in his mind, I'm sure it's like, okay, I'm forcing him to be self-sufficient and to handle these things by himself. But it also isn't quite that simple. It's like, I'm very confused. Could you just explain it to me again? He's like, nah, I said it once. Pay attention.
Yeah, my dad. Also, now the reason my mom suggested it is because my dad spent 23 years in the military. And he was... Human resources is not the right word. He was...
Security?
No, he was what's called a readiness NCO. And essentially what it is... And essentially what it is, for you and for the people that don't know, is that his job was essentially paperwork. The way he would describe it is, his job was to kick people out of the army.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
He kept track of who passed and failed their PT tests, who had medical problems, stuff like that. So he was the S4, I believe, either S4 or S3. S1 was like their legal guys, basically the lawyers that had to look up all the legalities and bullshit. And they would come to him and ask him, like, the ones that were specialized for that shit came to him and asked him, like, okay, under what code does this apply? And he would fucking Google.
He Googled it?
I shit you not. He would probably spend about 30 minutes to an hour researching something for the legal professionals, for the medical paperwork professionals, for all those people. They would all come to him instead of like asking each other, who are supposed to be the experts. They would literally just go to him and be like, where do we look for this one? And he'd be like, here's what you need to know. So that's why Mom told me to go to him, see if he would help me research.
Well, it sounds like he's someone adept at it, so I can see why that would be pretty helpful. I just realized we've been streaming for
40 minutes.
Almost 40 minutes, and we haven't actually talked about the title's sake at all.
Well, I did mention the noise marine, so we got one thing. We got one thing.
Got one thing in there. I think I could timestamp it in post. Anyway, we'll actually talk about the topic now. Let's see. I think like one of the things I'll bring up is one of my favorite like mechs in the game, and this is more from a lore standpoint. It's kind of garbage on the tabletop, but that's the Stompa. The Stompa, a lot of people consider overpriced, and I would say it is. It's not really that good. It's worth 800 points, but in terms of actual use on the tabletop, at least in 8th edition. Of course, I don't know what 9th edition might change about its data sheets, and I don't know what editions it was good at, if it's ever been really good. But for the most part, the Stompa is considered overpriced on the tabletop. But that being said, in the lore, they're probably the most imposing vehicle. Because you say what you will about Imperial Knights, the Titanicus, say what you will about the Chaos variants of those, and say what you will about the every other race's like big giant mechs. What's so cool and imposing, I think, about the Stompa is the fact that if you add on top of it that it works mysteriously. So unlike those vehicles, like there's no reason behind how it works. It's still just a bunch of scrap. But even if you're able to destroy it, you're gonna have like a hive of Gretchen and orcs hopping out of the carcass, ready to fight, assuming they didn't all die in its destruction. So it's like a giant hive of orcs just banging on gears and randomly pressing buttons that they put there that they have no idea how they fucking work, and yet somehow it's still one of the most destructive vehicles on the battlefield.
To counter that point, I'm pretty sure this is smaller, because correct me if I'm wrong, but a Stompa is bigger than a Gilligan.
Oh, much. Dude, a Stompa is bigger than a Morkanaut and a Gorkanaut.
Okay, because I thought Morkanauts and Gorkanauts were the biggest ones.
No, okay. Stompa is actually... how it goes in terms of size is you have Killicans, Death Dreads, then you have...
that's what I was saying. It Death Dread.
Yeah, in terms of mechs, after Death Dreads, it's then the Morkanaut and Gorkanaut, and then you have the Stompa. The Stompa is like their Titanicus, is how I would say it. It's closer to the size of an Imperial Knight, but it's chunky.
Okay,
He's a fat fuck.
Size aside, but one that I thought was very interesting. It would probably be comparable as far as deadliness was Hellbrute. And this was something I didn't understand what they were, and I only looked it up because of Inquisitor Martyr. So, do you understand what a Hellbrute is?
I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head, so...
Okay, so it's a Chaos Dreadnought so there are Chaos Dreadnoughts that are not Hellbrutes, but all Hellbrutes are Chaos Dreadnoughts formally.
Okay.
And essentially what it is once the Dreadnought gets so corrupted and goes full batshit crazy, they turn into a Hellbrute where essentially the body inside of the Dreadnought and the Dreadnought form in a weird way. And
it's chaos, so I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, and they are really fucking hard to put down. And when I say hard, I mean like hard even by chaos standards.
I think I remember. I think I remember what it looks like. Fuck. In Inquisitor Martyr, when you first start the game,
Yep,
it's there.
that's the Hellbrute.
That's the Hellbrute. Okay, yes, thank you. I was trying to remember the visual, so yeah, that's the Hellbrute. Okay, yeah, they're pretty fucking imposing motherfuckers. I still don't believe that the Inquisitor you play in that game was able to bring it down. I'm sorry, that was so unreal. I know we're talking about Fantasyland here, but still, for the universe, I'm like, yeah, a bunch of Inquisitors, a single Space Marine who was cut in half at the beginning of the fight, were able to take down a Hellbrute. Right. My ass. It was funny, but it was so unrealistic. It was like, no, that's not how that would go.
No, they would. No, it literally picked up an actual Space Marine and ripped his leg and arm off.
Yeah, and it's pretty badass.
It is. It's deliciously evil.
Yeah, it's what kind of like why like when it comes to like Def Dreads. You remember the Dawn of 3 like gameplay trailer? Cinematic trailer.
I think so,
where Space Marine runs up and hits a Def Dread with a fucking chainsword, and then gets grabbed by his arm and then is cut in half. I'm like, that's exactly how that would go.
It would, because it's like, I see what you're trying to do. But at least they stuck with you. That wouldn't work.
Exactly. I'd say it's probably... I don't know if a Hellbrute and a Def Dread are equivalences. I'd say...
Would a Def Dread be the equivalent of a Dreadnought?
Yes.
Then I would say it would probably be pretty close to. Because all a Hellbrute is a Chaos Dreadnought that has... completely lost his fucking mind.
Yeah, Def Dreads are the Orcs version of a Dreadnought. Killicans are like a miniature one. Well, I say miniature. It's only slightly smaller.
It's weird hearing Orc version of Dreadnought, knowing exactly what a Dreadnought is. It's like, Orcs wouldn't do that.
Well, it's the stats and strength equivalent, but it's not like the same thing. Like the only thing that's like a Dreadnought in Orc lore is Gazkul's new suit. Because Mad Doc Grotznik brought him back from the dead after his head was cut off and put him in a giant suit. So he's essentially a Dreadnought. The only Orc Dreadnought that exists, unless I missed something. But
I'm not surprised by that. That would be Gazkul.
Yeah, Gazkul had his head lopped off by Ragnar right as he killed Ragnar, which is ironic. They killed each other and they're both back from the dead. It's like, do either of you stay dead? And even more ironically, they're still fighting each other. Like that's the thing. They were brought back in that new box set, which I'm glad they're selling the models individually now, because that box is like $240. Like, you get a lot of Orc... Well, I say a lot. You get good Orc models, plus Gazkul in his new outfit and his new suit. And then you get Ragnar in his Primaris form, because they brought him back to life through the Primaris process, which I thought was silly. Why couldn't you bring him back as a Dreadnought? I think that would actually be cooler. Like, Gazkul in essentially his Dreadnought suit versus Ragnar in a fucking Dreadnought. That's the way you've got to bring him back to life. No, don't pull it like, oh, he's a Primaris now. Okay, so it's not as cool. It's not as cool. No. You failed. F.
I do think you're right.
C minus.
It would be cool just having them duke it out in a Dreadnought.
I think it would be so much cool. Like the first fight, it was Space Marine v Orc in a slightly, in the normal Orc war boss mix stuff. But then they kill each other. Then have them come back as a fucking mech fight. Like Pacific Rim this bitch. Like Ragnar in a Dreadnought beating the shit out of Gazkul in his giant ass war suit. Hey, come on. Fight one was already cool. To bring it up to even cooler, bring out the big shit. But no, they were like, no, Ragnar, let's bring him back as the Primaris. It's like, fuck you. Fuck you! You
So,
fell!
dude, bring back Lehman Russ as a fucking Primaris.
Lehman Russ the Primarch?
Yeah,
That wouldn't make any sense.
it doesn't matter. Although to be fair, it would be a great way to cuck him, and I'm all in favor of cucking Russ.
I'm all in favor of cucking Gilliman.
You don't need to.
They've already simped him.
Oh yeah. Oh, hard. Yes.
They simped him hard, which I thought was funny. So let's go through the comments real quick because I know we've just been chatting along here. I'm gonna have to like skim through because I don't want to hold up on too many of these. Ludus, are you struggling with triple N? Them nightly thighs. Those thighs are sexy as fuck. Sorry, I'm late, brother. Okay, so we're. But I love your face, says Moraine. Oh, I appreciate the lie. I do. Ah, Brother Asmergon, at the mercy of the Administratum's mail service. I wouldn't say at the mercy, but I'm certainly at the convenience of them. Meanwhile, on a particular day, Asmergon's neighbors had to deal with his shenanigans again. True. The thing is, I got some weird neighbors, so I've actually had to deal with one of theirs. Like, we have neighbors that are stoned hard a lot. So last winter, I was out in the tree line setting traps for coyotes, putting up signs so other humans wouldn't go near our certain spots. And I see one of my neighbors just standing there. Like, I'm talking in the forest at his, like, line of the it's creepy as fuck because I just turned around because I felt someone watching me. Turned out he's just standing there right on his side of the rock wall of the property line, and his eyes are like fucking red, and I'm like, Dale, you okay? He went, I don't know. How'd you get over here, Dale? I don't know. I'm like, what are you staring at? He's like, stuff. Okay. Could you perhaps go back? I don't know. I'm just left standing there like I have no idea what to say. So I was like, okay, well, whatever you do, don't come over here. And it's nice to see you and all, but I got a couple traps and snares. You might get hurt. So stay on that side. You hear me? He went, yeah. I just walked away. I have no idea.
I couldn't do it. I really couldn't.
I don't know, man. Like, I just walked away. I had no idea what to say. I know he didn't activate the trap because when I went out there, he wasn't there and the trap was still active. So at least he went back home. I assume. I've seen him since. So I've seen him sober since. I said, "Do you remember what happened the other day?" He went, "No, what?" I went, you know, you were at the rock wall in the tree line. You know, away from your house significantly. You don't hunt or anything, so I have no idea why you were in the woods. He's like,
hey.
He looks me dead in the eye, and he looks at me, gives me a look like I'm crazy. He's like, I was not at the tree line. What the hell are you talking about? I'm like, yes, you were. He's like, no, I wasn't. I'm like, yes, you fucking were. He went, listen, I don't know who you thought you saw, but I was not at the tree line. Okay, what do you remember from last Sunday? He went, I was hanging out with the family. I was like, is that code for smoking with your friends? Kinda. I'm like, okay, well, was your shit laced with anything? It's not, and then he gets all offended. He's like, that's none of your business. I'm like, I'm just saying. What do you remember? They just walked away. Like, I don't think he wanted to admit that he had a huge gap in his memory. It's like, okay, asshole, goodbye. Oh, good lord.
I smoked too much and then I did something stupid.
It's still so creepy. Alright, scrolling down. I'm trying to zip through. Alright, 40k Warlord. The Star of David on the right Marine's shoulder, though. Huh? Well, Ludus is Jewish.
Yeah, my Rain said that in chat.
Prophecy of the Wolf was a disaster? You mean the box set, the storyline, or all of the above? Because Prophecy of the Wolf was the name of the box set from I was mentioning earlier. Dale has some really good shit if he got that stone. Probably. I know his family grows the stuff, so. Which is legal, by the way, here in Maine. Like, recreational marijuana and growing your own is perfectly legal.
By the way, I want to point something out kind of funny now that you said that. I live in now one of the bluer states.
Ironically.
And that shit's still illegal here.
Yeah, Maine has been a blue state for the last, like, I want to say 40 years, 40 plus years. So, yeah, I'm not too surprised by a lot of our laws and policies here that are really bad.
Virginia's been blue for 40 years. I think it's only been blue for about 20. I don't know. That would require me to look it up, and that I'm just too fucking lazy to do. I'm not gonna lie.
Nameless Scar, all of the above. Yeah, I don't know about the box set. Again, I never bought it. I wanted to because of the new Gazcol model, and looking back, Ragnar would have been nice to have, but it was just too expensive. Like, it was way too expensive to buy that all at once. It was like $280, $240, something ridiculous. So I was like, nah, I ain't buying that shit. Like, yeah, as much as I collect orcs and I want Gazcol, I'm not buying a box set that I have to sell part of my liver. Not even part of my I have to sell my liver, one of my lungs, and my heart to get. Like, no, fuck that, no.
So, I saw this. You might find this interesting, Asmagon, and it's 40k related. It's another 40k YouTuber. And they were doing a Primarch face-off, like who would win in certain groups. And the one that stood out to me was Angron versus Magnus.
I'm not sure how that fight would go.
I'm going to tell you how that fight would go. Not very fucking well for Angron.
You would definitely be at a disadvantage.
Here's my argument for this.
Well, the thing is, I agree, because Magnus isn't like martially they're all martially trained, but he's not as martially focused as Angron is. However, his natural strength is already better than most Primarchs. So, and the only reason Leman Russ got him beat was, when it comes to martial combat, no Primarch, I think, is Leman's equivalent. I think his ferocity and aggression, I think, is top tier. I don't think another Primarch beats him, unless we're counting, natural strength. Magnus is stronger physically than Leman is, and so is Vulcan. But I don't think they're as well toned with melee combat as Leman Russ. So I think Russ beats them in that category. Natural strength, Magnus and Vulcan got him beat.
Well, Magnus is actually considered one of the physically weaker Primarchs.
Well, naturally he's stronger, though. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's just because of him being a massive fucking psyker. I think naturally, I don't think he is the strong. I think he's actually the weakest, if I remember right, or maybe one of the weaker ones.
I thought I remembered because of his mutation from the warp. His physical body was stronger.
Oh, okay. No, I'm going by 30k.
Oh, okay.
Especially during the fight of the Burning of Prospero, to my knowledge, Magnus would have been physically weaker.
Oh, okay. By that point, he was definitely weaker.
But even in 30k, there was a story, and I don't remember where it was, but Magnus was on a planet, and Russ was in the Arc Reach cluster, repeatedly asking for help, and he and they activate two two Eldar Titans got activated, and Magnus just fucking destroyed one of them with the waving his hands. So if he can do that to an Eldar Titan on his own, Angron's kind of fucked, Primarch or no.
Yeah, I would see Magnus winning a fight between... Because Angron has ferocity, but he's not controlled, he's not directed, he's... Honestly, the only reason he's even remotely formidable is, again, he's just blind rage. He's not predictable in an up straight fight. Well, he's predictable in like the normal sense, is that he's gonna lash at you. But in terms of, again, like combos and like, again, up close personal combat, but he's not a psyker. He doesn't have any ranged natural talent, and he's kind of stupid. Like, he's not going to think about how to fight his enemy. He's not going to think, okay, Magnus is weak in this area, I'll take advantage of it. He's not strategic with it. He's just, I'm going to attack you and hit you until you die. He's not thinking about weaknesses, vulnerabilities. And say what you will about Lehman. Lehman at least would consider those things. They wouldn't be his focus. He would definitely go for brute strength, but if he was losing... I'm pretty sure Lehman's record shows for itself that he would do a double take and think about what he's doing. He's not blind rage. Angron is blind rage.
And the nameless scholar pointed something out, and I forgot about this, and I think it's funny I forgot about this. Lorgar was considered the physically weakest and the worst fighter of the Primarchs.
Well, I believe that.
Well, it's because he was the scholar out of all of his brothers.
Yeah.
So he was really the weakest. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I would say Magnus is definitely better than Lorgar.
Which is funny, because if we're going to use that metric, then Magnus would wipe the fucking floor with Guilliman. Because Lorgar actually kept Guilliman toe-to-toe. Guilliman was overpowering him, but he had to work for it. And then Angron got involved.
That's kind of sad.
And Angron just came over and started fucking Guilliman shit up. But I mean, at that point, it was kind of 2-on-1. So, but it was Angron and Lorgar against Guilliman. Guilliman was a very tactical thinker, whereas you have the worst fighter and possibly the worst directed fighter fighting him. So they would have probably been at a disadvantage if you think about it. And they were still beating the shit out of him.
Oh my god. Yeah, we should definitely dedicate a stream to saying like versus matches. We kind of dedicated part of this one to that, but next Geekus Theoreticus podcast, I say that's what we do the whole time. Just do versus matchups between the Primarchs.
I have one that's not Primarchs, but I have one that I think would be cool.
I have one that's not Primarchs that I think it'd be cool. I don't think this would ever happen, obviously, but Gazkul pre being brought back by Mad Doc, Grotznik, and Erebus.
That might actually be a close one. Because Erebus, as much as I hate the motherfucker, he is pretty strong now.
Yeah. I would actually be interested to see how the two of them would clash. Because they're two fighters I don't think I'd ever picture fighting. So, just theorizing, how would that fight work out, I think would be fun.
Here's mine, and it's not Primarch. It's actually two Equerries. Or not Equerries, but it's Karn, the Betrayer, versus Typhus.
Versus Typhus?
Yeah.
Who would you say would win that?
I don't really know. I don't. So the thing is obviously Typhus is a bitch to kill.
Absolutely.
And he's got a lot of abilities with so the way I'm going to word this is going to show that I've played nothing but WoW for the past week.
Yo, you've been playing that much WoW? I just quit WoW.
I have been playing that much WoW.
Damn.
I actually like the way they're leveling with Shadowlands, where you get to pick your expansion. That way, if you don't like one, like in my case, where I absolutely loathe Cataclysm, you don't have to play it.
Yeah,
I actually really enjoy that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was playing part of it, but I kind of reflected about how I felt about World of Warcraft, plus, Kibbs and our talk earlier, and I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, I've played this game since I was 7, and I've taken large hiatuses from it, and I don't think Shadowlands is going to undo my problems with it. So,
Well, I don't think it's going to do all of my problems, but that was a big problem I had because I hated doing certain content. So now that I don't have to do that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so I can just skip to the content I like. And as much shit as I know I'm going to get for this, one of the ones that I mainly do enjoy doing is Warlords of Draenor.
I do too, but that's because it's fast to level. Or faster.
It was that, but I do enjoy the Garrison.
Because, I don't.
Well, hear me out on this. It's instant gratification, and it's me acknowledging that it's instant gratification. It's a really fucking bad reason. But it's like as you're going, you're actually building up this small city, and I think that's kind of cool. I mean, it's not the biggest thing in the world, and it's something really small, especially like on my Death Knight that I had him maxed out. I maxed him out in Draenor, and I've kept him maxed out through every expansion. But so even with him, like, the Garrison is practically useless now. But it's still like I'll go back there every once in a while to his maxed out Garrison and be like, this actually looks pretty cool. It's just one of those small things. But oh yeah, because I forgot to say this. As far as Karn versus Typhus, Typhus has a lot of like area of effect shit because he has the destroyer hive living in him, so it'll be really hard to get close. But Karn has been killed twice. Before the end of the Horus Heresy, he's been killed twice. After the Horus Heresy, he has not been killed since. So I don't know if he's immortal or what.
I would assume not.
But I could see that being a really cool slugfest between him and Typhus.
Yeah.
If it really does come down to a slugfest, I'm going to give it to Karn.
I would say Karn, personally. If it comes down to that.
Because it's either going to be Typhus is going to be able to infect him and finally bring him the fuck down, or Karn's just going to get up close and just beat him into a puddle.
Karn is a very efficient fighter, from what I recall. So I don't think he would be too easy to bring down with Typhus's corruptions. So I would assume, in a general sense, Karn has the advantage.
Well, the main thing is just the destroyer hive, though.
Yeah, that's where it's not like clear cut.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to have issues with that, but shy of that, if he can get around that, it's going to go to Karn.
Yeah. Typhus won't stand a chance.
he's gonna be like, "Don't hit me! Stop hitting yourself!" Bam!
Rips off his arm and impales him.
Starts beating the shit out of him with it.
What's that purple smoke coming out of your helmet into artwork? Well, that's a bit of a lore for my Grimdark that's kind of been changed. Went through a rewrite, so that's no longer apt, but it was like a gas that is imbued in the helmets of the Helsings for the Crypta, so it would slow them down. It was an anesthetic, but that's again been changed pretty drastically in a lot of the rewrites. So this artwork is from a while ago. Like the major artwork that's depicting is now, most of it to all of it is no longer canon, so it's just awesome artwork. I use it for the channel, and it doesn't spoil anything now, so that's good. Hell, the Helsings aren't even designed this way anymore. Well, a sect of them are. We got the Vanguard Helsings, the Assault Helsings, and the Bulwark Helsings. And the Bulwarks would look more like this: heavy armor, shielding. But the other two, the more common Helsings you'll see in the lore and in visuals, the depictions, are going to be much lighter armored than that. But yeah, the purple gas, though, that's been changed.
Valletta came up with a good verses. And I think this is going to split me in here. Sigismund versus Karn.
That's actually, lore-wise, that would be beautiful to see.
I would still have to give it to Karn.
I wouldn't. I would give that to Sigismund.
I'll say this. Sigismund is an amazing fighter. I'm not downplaying that at all. But this really goes back to Karn has been killed fucking twice already, and all it did was manage to piss him off more. I really don't think. I think the only chance anyone has of killing him is if it's someone like Ahriman or Magnus, just a major psychic.
Well, keep in mind, Sigismund died fighting Abaddon the Despoiler, and it wasn't even a blowout fight. Sigismund brutally wounded Abaddon the Despoiler.
Well, no, okay. So if we're going to use that metric, even Abaddon has said one of the few people that he would never want to get in a fight with would be Karn.
He didn't want to get into a fight with Sigismund either.
I mean, that's fair. But but my point really comes down to, I think the only people that would have a remote shot of taking down Karn would have to be a Psyker. I don't think anyone would take him in a straight up melee, just tit for tat fight. I think at that point, whoever is going up against him is at a disadvantage just because of the fact that he is Korn's chosen. I don't think he's necessarily immortal, but I think he's pretty fucking close to at this point. And that's where I think it comes down to.
I would say Sigismund has a strong chance of fighting him back. Killing him and defeating him, probably not, but it would, in my opinion, in terms of who would either come out unscathed, I think Sigismund would lose, but I don't think by a massive margin. I think that not only do they know each other, so that would affect how the fight would go, but
for a fucking second.
Sorry, I only got a fucking second at the end. What was the rest of it?
Oh, I don't believe that for a fucking second. I don't think that Karn knowing him would make a difference.
I think they know how each other fight very closely.
Okay, I see what you're... Okay, yeah, okay.
So I think that would be where both have both an advantage and a disadvantage. They would know each other's weaknesses and fighting styles and be able to counter them. So yeah. I think that would affect the fight, at least a straight up fight, tremendously. Would I say Sigismund is stronger? No. As much as I hate to say it, I'd say Karn would have an advantage in the fight. I'd say if Sigismund could win, it wouldn't be a permanent win. It would be a situation where probably both would survive. I'd say it's kind of hard to say, but I would say Sigismund. It's not a blowout. Sigismund would probably lose for sure, but I don't. I think the fight would be close. It would all come down to probably specific strikes and movements, for sure.
I think realistically, what's going to come down to is who can outlast who in the slugfest, and I think that's going to go to Karn.
Yeah, he. If I recall correctly, he is imbued with chaos, corruption, and power, so that would help his stamina significantly.
Yeah.
So if we're talking though, if we're talking how they both would be at like post heresy, yeah, Karn is pretty much straightforward. It's a Karn fight. Pre heresy and pre corruption for Karn, I'd say it's 50-50.
Well, if we're going pre-heresy, then we're going to have to, like, are we talking before the Siege of Terror pre-heresy, or, like, absolutely before the Horus Heresy even starts?
More in reference to this fight, more just before Karn was imbued with chaos powers. So basically how he was as he was before.
That would be... I don't know. I'm still going to have to give that one to Karn. And this is
I wouldn't in that case. Because at that point, without the imbued increase in stamina and power, I'd say Sigismund would have the advantage.
I disagree, and here's why. when Angron first was reunited with the World Eaters, he killed the first 7 captains and almost killed Karn. He gave him the same beating that he gave the others, and Karn almost died, but he lived. So I think that freakish stamina, even without the corruption, without all the boosts and everything, I still think he'd be able to pull it off.
Well, I can cite a few similar feats of stamina and strength from Sigismund. So, again, it comes down to... I just think it wouldn't be... Okay, so best case scenario, it'd be pre-heresy, pre-chaos corruption for Karn. I'd say it's 50-50.
I would say the best scenario for Sigismund you're looking at is probably a tie. I don't agree, I don't see anywhere where Sigismund could win, honestly, because, like I said, Karn took a beating from Angron, and and normally I wouldn't say that would make a difference as far as like a fight like this, except for the fact that he survived a beating from Angron.
I don't know. I wouldn't give it to Karn so easily pre-heresy. Post-heresy, post-chaos corruption, it's not a contest at that point. I'd say Karn definitely has the advantage, but I don't think he does pre-heresy, personally.
Yeah. I'm not saying I give it to him clearly. I do think that Sigismund could fight him to a draw, but I think that's the best Sigismund's going to get. I don't think that Sigismund will just be able to out and out put Karn down. That's the only thing I'm disputing. As far as like would Karn win 100% of the time? Probably not. He would be able to be fought to a draw.
Yeah, I don't see the fight being simple in either case, but I definitely think Sigismund has a chance pre-heresy. He definitely doesn't post-heresy, I would say. The chaos corruption, the boost in stamina, just, again, chaos corruption is such a boon to their own forces. It's kind of, it's ironic to call it unfair.
until they're like, you know what, no, fuck you, we're taking our gifts back.
Yeah, it's selective.
Because they did it to Horus, they did it to Luther, they did it to someone else, and I forgot who it was. But they always do it like the last second, like, oh, you failed us. Well, fuck you, we're gone.
It's kind of weird strategically. I mean, like, you failed. Now we're abandoning you. It's like,
yeah,
you're chaos gods. Could you have done it before? Or do they just like being dicks last minute? It's like, no.
Do the chaos gods like being dicks?
That's a rhetorical question. I get. Wait, they're talking about something. Helsings, vampire hunters? No. Helsings are vampires. The Crypta race are humans that got mutated and turned into a vampire race in the universe. So, Helsings is the name of one of their military divisions, and that would be their super soldiers. Their super soldiers are Helsings. Their basic military is called the Steins, and their research and development and tech division would be the Jackals. Or Jekyll, sorry.
Valletta said, say they meet at the Gates of Terror. That's after Karn gets corrupted, so that kind of goes into that argument of it goes chaos corruption versus not chaos corruption.
Yeah, unless you're talking from like a narrative standpoint, what do you think we would say would happen? Is that what you're asking, or are you just talking like how would they serve up in that fight? Well, I guess his point there would be that's when Sigismund was equipped with the best fucking gear, though. Like he was given the best weapons, the best gear. He was the Emperor's champion.
I would say that would be a hard fight because you got the chaos corruption going now.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's countered, but it's almost equivalenced by the gear, because a lot of that stuff was like Custodes level or above.
I would say at that point you're still looking best case of draw.
Probably.
I don't see any way that and this is not me. Like, I like Sigismund as a character. I really do.
I love him as a character.
As much shit as I will give Imperial Fist and Black Templar, Sigismund is actually a really good character. But I can't think of any way he can put down Karn permanently. And for anyone who wants to know the metric that I'm using the metric that they say they use on Death Battle, where it comes down to who can put down which one can put down the other permanently. And that's what I'm taking into consideration here, is because I think Sigismund could fight him to a draw all day. But I think the one who's going to get the killing blow would be Karn.
Yeah. Yeah, complicated fight there, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. It's not me saying, like, Sigismund can do... I think Sigismund can take most of the Chaos Champions at the Siege of Terra. I just don't think that Karn would be one of them. I think he could take Erebus, but I don't think he would be able to take Karn.
Yeah. Again, it's such a headache to really think about all of it. All the factors... I'd really
40k autism.
Yay. Yeah. And so is that canon? Is that canon? Yes, that is canon, Moraine. What Murder's Kitten told you. Yep, Helsing's humans turned vampire race who raid others to provide city with full of blood. That's like the really simplistic version, but yeah, that's canon to the Grimdark. Thing is, I've taken like a half break from it. Like the most work I've been doing on it this month and plan on doing next month is discussions with like my artist Pyrrhus and getting him to do certain stuff for me. But yeah, I've taken most of a break from writing it. So many pages. 772, I believe, is the last page count I did on the document that outlines the lore.
Yeah, it does sound like you need a little bit of a break.
Yeah, it's been working 10 to 12 hours a day last, I want to say, 4 or 5 months. I don't know. I think that's when I started working on this. So yeah, working 10 to 12 hours a day on it for the last 5 or so months. Yeah, they've earned a break.
Moraine's being a smart ass.
Yeah, that's who Moraine is. Smart ass. No, they don't. They don't like the sunlight at all. Doesn't kill them, but it's like getting burnt. It's like, yeah, I don't want, I don't want to step into the sunlight and get blinded while simultaneously having my skin charred.
So it's like when your average full-time YouTuber walks outside.
Pretty much. It's like,
I don't like this outdoors thing. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna go back inside.
Yeah, man.
By the way, for people who don't know, it actually is just outstandingly common for YouTubers to be a little bit antisocial.
Oh, a little bit?
I was trying to be nice about it.
Yeah, they're a little antisocial. My ass. They're not even social.
We're all very introverted.
That is an understatement. Why does it always do that? I don't want to set the world on fire.
I play that game, but at the same time, I really don't.
Fallout 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, because I remember one of my favorite Fallout moments was there was the DLC for it. It was It was the DLC where you go to the Brotherhood Outcasts and you go through the VR simulation of Anchorage, and that was really cool for me, and that was the best part of the game, and it was a DLC, and I was like, I just can't get into the rest of it now. That was just too good.
Gotta love those moments. Like, shit, this is awesome. Great, the rest of it's soured by comparison. Damn it!
It really was. Valletta has one. I really don't know this. Actually, if I remember right, Logan Grimnar got killed by Magnus. But Valletta says, okay, here's another. Logan Grimnar versus Sigismund. If I'm thinking of the right guy, Logan Grimnar was killed by Magnus. And this case, though, I would say it would probably be close, but I'm going to lean more towards Sigismund. A, because I fucking hate the space furries, and B, because I do think that, on the whole, that Imperial Fists and their successors, for the most part, are a lot... They're more martially tactical than the Space Wolves, and I think that would play to Sigismund's advantage.
Yeah, I'd say Sigismund as well, for the same reason. I think he's a much more efficient fighter and is certainly more, I would say, controlled. Space Wolves aren't as bad as, like, for example, World Eaters, where they're just fucking like, I'll destroy you and I don't care to think about what I'm doing. I think they are a little tactical, but it's not like I'm very carefully planning out every single strike. It's more like, what's my general approach, is how I would say the Space Wolves consider their combats or combat techniques. It's not really, again, tactical precision strikes, but it's kind of like that in between chaotic, just like wielding and wailing a weapon. They have some level of control, technique, and style, but it's mostly just, again, a general approach as opposed to precision combat. I'd say the Black Templars are the example of more precision combat. They are like the other melee focused chapters and legions or warbands. They are still fueled by a lot of like rage and passion and zealotry. There is still a lot of emotion fueling their attacks, but it's all channeled. It's all controlled. And it's very carefully and precisely guided. I'd say in the case of Sigismund, who birthed that nature in them, I would say that, yes, Sigismund would probably have the advantage against Logan Grimnar.
I'm trying to find, because I'm starting to believe that I'm wrong.
But
because yeah, I'm almost positive I'm wrong. I was thinking of the wrong guy. Because now I'm starting to think I'm thinking of Ragnar Blackmane, but I could also be wrong with that too.
Maybe.
Oh well. Okay, it's unimportant. I honestly, I do think that Sigismund would have the advantage again because, like we said earlier, he would be at a tactical advantage over Space Wolf, and
generally,
and also I think it would be kind of funny because I hate the space furries.
Yeah, I get you. Me, I don't. They're my second favorite chapter, so for me, it's like my favorite versus my second favorite. But still, I would say Sigismund definitely has the advantage. Logan was the fucker who told the Inquisition to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, after Armageddon.
Okay, yeah. I'm not. The thing is, come to think of it, there are actually quite a few Space Marines who've said that. Essentially.
But I don't like that Kirill Sinderman became an Inquisitor.
Who?
So, in the first 3 Horus Heresy books, he was the main iterator for the 63rd Expeditionary Fleet under Horus Lupercal.
Ah, okay.
And so he was the main iterator under Horus. And he ends up becoming an Inquisitor and becoming a real dickbag. And I don't like it because he's a really cool character, and it fucking ruins his character hard.
Yeah, becoming an inquisitor.
That and becoming a dick, because he was kind of like that fatherly character to Garfield Loken. He was a mentor. He's just like this really cool old guy. And he just turns into a dick.
Well, to be fair, a lot of 40k characters, if they start out nice, definitely go dick mode at some point.
I mean, Sebastian Yarrick.
He's kind of always been a dick to a degree.
I mean, he's a commissar. It's kind of their thing. But but like, he's not been excessively a dick.
No, not more than I would say the average commissar in terms of dickery.
This is complete 180. This would be kind of like if he went from people are retreating. Put me in my Bane blade that ran me over so that I can run them over.
The Months of Shame, the Space Wolves are only chapter to get away fighting the Inquisition. Well, the thing is, the Space Wolves get away with a lot. They always have, too. Even after the heresy, what was the one legion that Gilman didn't try and bully?
Salamanders.
Well, he didn't even try it then, because they already had less than 1,000 at that point. So
but he promised them even afterwards, even if they would get over 1,000, that they would never be broken up.
Which is kind of ironic, considering how many chapters just got revealed to be Salamander successors in 9th edition, like 4 or 5.
I don't know. I don't keep track with.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 or 6. One of them is basically the Word Bearers. I'm not even shitting you. Like, they are straight up word bearers. They even have a book with a flame on it.
That doesn't mean that they're Salamander successors.
No, they are.
That means that someone says they're Salamander successors.
They really aren't, if we're talking like how they're written and how they're described. Basically, how they're written in terms of like the codex, how it explains them, is that like they're word bearers, but instead of seeking knowledge, they destroy any knowledge that's corrupting. So they seek out knowledge. But we're just gonna burn the corrupt stuff though. If it's chaos, we'll destroy it. It's like, hold on to that dream.
That's literally 30k.
They're straight up fucking word bearers. It's like not even subtle. And I'm like, these are not salamanders. Nothing about them is salamanders other than they burn books.
Even salamanders don't necessarily burn books. They just burn everything.
No, they burn things though. Like that's the only thing that they carried over from their fathered chapter is burning books. Like,
so here's what happened, and this is going to be a little bit spicy. You know how like the word bearers have the facial tattoos?
Yes.
This is just a group of them went way overboard. And instead of like getting the script tattooed, they just had their entire faces tattooed black, and they're like, "Oh shit."
I don't know actually.
We're salamanders.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know even if they have that charred skin. Thing is, in the codex, it just shows them in full armor, right? And their symbol. That's it. I haven't seen any images with one of this chapter without their helmets or without their gear on. So I don't even know if they have that charred skin. So I have no idea. I'm assuming they do. I'm assuming all the successors do to a degree, but I could be wrong on quite a few areas.
Black dragons do.
Actually, kind of think of it. Hold on. Let me grab the codex. It's cheat.
I'm gonna look up black dragons while you're talking about that, because I'm pretty sure they do. Yes, they do.
Alright, so hold on, let me swig over to the page. Alright. Alright, let me find the page. Hold on, people, hold on. Okay. So, known foundings. Alright, so just so you're updated on what chapters no longer have a definitive founding legion, The unknown founding chapters, which means they don't know who their progenitor is. White Templars are now on that. They are not Sons of Dorn. They don't know their origins now. Red Scorpions, that's a given. Minotaurs. Carcharodons, Tigers Argent, Dragon Lords, Storm Giants. Black Dragons, Exorcists, Star Dragons, Blood Ravens, Fire Lords, and Mentors are all have unknown foundings.
I'm gonna tell you right now why Blood Ravens is unknown. Because I know the answer to this, and because no one wants to fucking admit that they're descendants of Thousand Sons.
And I don't write the lore, but if I did, the Thousand Sons would make sense to me. Okay, so
I mean, they steal fucking artifacts and knowledge. They have an ungodly amount of psychers. I mean, who the fuck else are they going to be descended from?
No idea.
At best, you're looking at blood angels, but that doesn't explain the fact that they don't suffer from the Red Thirst or Black Death.
Yeah, I would say Thousand Sons personally. But I get that's where some people are coming from, where they think it's blood angels. But I don't think they're Sons of Sanguinius, personally. So, the Salamander successor chapters, right? There's 4 of them. We have the Covenant of Fire, which is the one I was telling you about, and I'll read you their brief description. The Covenant of Fire crave knowledge of the Imperium they fight for, seeking out lore wherever they can find it, hoping that this information can help them bring light to darkness. Conversely, they purge any sign of heretical material they find, knowing that its knowledge is a false light that leads only to ruin. The chapter eagerly embraced the Promethean cult, imbibing and implying the wisdom of their gene sires swiftly. So they're word bearers, but they burn anything that doesn't align with, well, it says they do anyway. They purge any sign of heretical material. Okay. They're essentially word bearers. Like, how these are I don't see how these guys are sons of Vulcan.
They're word bearers.
They're word bearers. Like, their symbol is a book with a flame on it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucking kidding me. Like, I struggle to believe these are sons of Vulcan, because nothing about them is like that. Like, it makes no sense. The other successor chapters that have been announced for the Salamanders are Dragon Spears, Black Vipers, and Dark Krakens. And each of them have a symbol you can pretty much guess from the name. The Dragon Spears have like a shield crest with 2 crossed spears. The Black Vipers have a red viper, like a snake. And Dark Krakens have a squid. And they're pretty... Again, it's... None of them get... Like, maybe the Dragon Spears kind of give me a Vulcan vibe, but the rest of them really don't feel like successors to the Salamanders, to me.
Right.
Like, Dark Krakens... Like, read their description. The Dark Krakens, oceanic and night-bathed homeworld of Nactis, only boasts 1 landmass capable of supporting a fortress monastery. Nactis' vast seas are replete, which is a weird word, are replete with bioluminescent megafauna and shoal predators, which the native population hunt for sport and nourishment. Echoing this, in battle, the Dark Krakens seek out the largest foes, whether that be in terms of physical size or sheer numbers. I don't get Vulcan vibes from them. I don't get Salamander vibes either. Like, I get it that successor chapters can be vastly different from their founding chapters, but usually there's something from their foundings that connects them. These guys, like, get nothing. Now, to be fair, some Ultramarine successors straight up feel nothing like their founding. That, to be fair. But none of the Salamander successors, except maybe the Dragon Spears a little bit, feel like they came from Vulcan.
Yeah.
Especially the Covenant of Fire. They feel like loyalist word bearers. Like that's it. I don't know. That's kind of fucky. But
I don't know what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, I don't see what they're doing there. But yeah, like I said, the Dragon Lords, the Black Dragons, neither of them are salamanders, weirdly enough. I thought both of them were salamander successors. Maybe I was just assuming that because, you know, the dragon theme.
They were the Black Dragons and Storm Giants were suspected successor chapters of the salamanders.
Yeah, but they're both considered unknown founding. Same with Dragon Lords. All three of them I would have assumed they were successors of salamanders, but no. I am disappointed that the White Templars aren't Dorn. Like, that disappoints me, because the whole community has assumed, and I'm pretty sure they've said it explicitly before, that the White Templars are sons of Dorn. So I'm not happy that they're not one of Dorn's anymore. That kind of bothers me. I mean, they're not like one of my favorite chapters or anything. Black Templars, you know, Space Wolves, those are like tippy top, and a bunch of other chapters. Kind of like, you know, they're not even like the top 5 or 6. I don't think for me, but it feels almost like, you know, Dorn's getting robbed of something here. But anyway,
you know what would be funny?
What?
Make them Ultra Smurfs.
Oh God. Don't make me vomit.
I mean, there are worse things you can make them, but not by much.
Not by much. Basically, any chapter to fuck with Inquisition has a really bad time. Not true. Quite a few chapters that have fucked with them and continue to are thriving, actually. Ironically. Black Templars, they're thriving. You know, obviously they're not all uniform and together, but generally as a chapter, they're thriving. Let's see. Space Wolves have pretty much, like, obviously they've, like, all chapters they've had, like, their really bad times, but they are thriving in the lore, if I recall correctly, and they've fucked with the Inquisition multiple times. So
Space Wolves don't like them.
I'd say fucking with the Inquisition is not even remotely a measurement on whether a chapter is successful or is suffering or not, because again, quite a few chapters have given the Inquisition the finger and have been fine. Mainly because the Inquisition, most Inquisitors anyway, aren't stupid enough to cross the Space Marines, because they know full well that they're, you know, more powerful, stronger, more capable, and in every way can crush them. So if you're an Inquisitor that has any intention of living a significant amount of time, don't fuck with the Space Marines. Just saying. It's just generally not a good idea.
Seems like a smart way to live by.
Yeah. And yeah, they definitely have their problems with the Space Marines. I mean, I would. Like, think about it. Like, what's the biggest threat to the Inquisitors' control and power in the Imperium from their own forces? I mean, I'd say Space Marines. Well, that and other Inquisitors, of course. But I'd say outside of the Inquisition and the Ecclesiarchy, your biggest threat is 100% the Space Marines. So.
Yeah. Like, you know what would be cool? Seeing the Mechanicum split away.
That would be cool, but I don't want it to happen.
That would, or at least, like, the Mechanicum splitting away and, like, seeing how the Imperium would try and keep them. That would be interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick. Take any questions while I hop. I'll be right back. It's just, you know. But I got to run to the bathroom.
So, chat, what questions do you have? I don't know that I will have the answer, but I might be able to make it funny. Actually, very curious, Valletta, where you were talking about Sigismund versus Legend Grimnor now. I would have to do that research. And let me go into this so it comes down a little bit.
Alright, I'm back.
Murderous kitten. I didn't catch this if you did say it. Space Myrain.
I said marine.
Well, no, if so, I would have taken credit for that because that's a really good pun.
I didn't do it, but I wish I had now. that would have been better. But no, I said marine, which the way I say marine, I guess they sound really similar. But no, I didn't say marine instead of marine because the way I say it sounds similar. But no, sorry, not gonna take credit for a good meme that I didn't do, unfortunately. If I may be so bold, is anyone interested in checking out or asking any questions about the Grimdark? It's been a while since I did any kind of Q&A shit with that. Keyboard working again? Yay! Might need to get a new keyboard. This is the second time you mentioned that yours is kind of fucked. Help me out here, brother. Are orc snipers real?
No.
No? And even if there were, their accuracy would be shit, so... As far as I'm thinking, no. Not even the Bad Moons who are big on Daka. No, I don't believe there are any orc snipers.
That requires orcs to believe in the philosophy of aiming.
Aiming and range. And not even the Bad Moons, who are, again, big on Daka, big on mech. Well, less big on mechs, more on guns. But, yeah, not even they have anything like a sniper. They're not big on range or tactics or anything like that. No orc is. So, unfortunately, I'd say snipers, just on a logic level, just don't work in the orc culture.
Murderous Kitten is saying they were real on Armageddon against the Celestial Lions. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Sure? I don't remember that.
Celestial Lions, they had about as good of a time as the Lamenters. And essentially what happened was the Celestial Lions pissed off the Inquisition. The Inquisition fucked them over at every turn. To the point where orc snipers became a thing. And they were able to snipe Space Marines, starting with command staff, because orcs have a very thorough knowledge of a Space Marine chapter's command structure, and they were able to start from the top and just headshot.
Right. Any progress? Question mark. I mean, yes, but like how much? Like, what do you mean? Like with the Grimdark? You want me to quantify how much progress? What number am I using to quantify that? Hours dedicated, number of pages written. Like, what are we talking?
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'm gonna give me something to drink.
All right. I'll take this moment to segue, I guess, huh? Being sarcastic? Oh. Okay. Oh, man, my neck. Okie dokie. Alright, so... This is the newest concept art we got produced. The good old Pyrrhus. This is the redesign and the one we're sticking with. I'm not changing it again. This is the main form of a Helsing's you'll see in the lore. This is the most common variation. There are two other segments of Helsing's that exist. Like I said before, there's the Vanguard, and then there's the there's Vanguard, and then there's the Bulwark. The Bulwarks are the big shield dudes. They have the heaviest armor. They are physically the biggest, and they are the most imposing and most brutal in terms of tanks. You have the Vanguard, which are lighter armored. They're faster. They're special operations. Usually they're spec ops. They're sent behind enemy lines, and they have a massive focus on melee combat. They are the rarest of, well, I'd say rarest, but they're the smallest in terms of overall size of any of the Helsing divisions. But the most common type and the biggest bulk of the Helsing forces is made up of assault Helsings, which are their basic infantry and normal fighters. So in this case, this is the character outline we have for what essentially a basic assault Helsing looks like in my Grimdark for the Sovereignty. This is, without armor. So if we zoom in here, so without armor, without any kind of under armor, just a basic outline. Obviously battle scars and now keep in mind all Helsings except for the Bulwarks, they're even bigger, and the Grims are a different variant altogether. They're the biggest, but all Helsings, when they're first birthed out of their cloning facilities, they are all 7'5" on average. Some are slightly bigger, some are slightly smaller, but on average they're all 7'5". So that's how tall this guy is. I know there's no other humans to put into scale, but this guy is 7'5". Let's see. So we got nerve connector studs for their armor, because their armor acts as like a second skin almost. They're actually able to feel the outside of their armor, like I said, like a skin. Unlike with like an actual rupture of their inner, like their actual skin, they don't feel like massive amounts of pain when their armor is chipped by gunfire, but they're able to feel like exactly where it hits. It's not just like the shudder and the impact through the armor that they feel it. They actually feel exactly where the bullet hit, and they can from that deduce the trajectory and where the attack's coming from, and then counterattack. The chestplate looks like dude has boobs. Huh? I don't know how small your boobs are, but those aren't boobs. Those would be called pecs, which are male versions of boobs.
I mean, my boobs are bigger.
And so are mine, but... But yeah, they got the connector studs for the nerve connections to the under armor and to the armor itself. This gemstone in the middle, there's a lot of lore about a specific energy source the Sovereignty uses for pretty much everything, to power their ships, to power their weapons, to power most of their facilities and equipment. It's a gemstone that is pretty unique to their planet. It only grows in pretty much utter darkness. It generates light to a degree, but nothing like not like really powerful light, nothing like sunlight or like a lamp. Really subtle light. It's an energy source. I'd say I'd compare it to how I wrote it, similar to Tiberium. It doesn't grow as much. It's not like a parasitic thing like Tiberium is, but it does grow. It's pretty sensitive to UV rays and light, so that's where it's most sensitive. But this is like an artificial version of that gemstone that grows on their planet. If it is hit by light, it won't rupture or anything, but it does generate power and energy. It's how they power their suits. And they do embed them in their chest cavity. This is the under armor. So, that purple light you see going out is, again, the gemstone generating energy into the suit. It allows, again, it's what facilitates them being able to connect their nerves to the suit. It also keeps everything powered in the suit. That includes retinal display and things like that inside the helmet. any communication devices in their ears and the such. And it just powers everything generally in their war suits. And this is what the average Helsing will look like in battle. The assault Helsing. Alright, I'll just get a close up. Focus there. This text seems vert advanced. Also, what's the general tech level of the world? Well, do you say the world? What do you mean?
Sneaking suspicion it would be somewhat comparable to Warhammer, where different planets have different tech levels.
Well, the sovereignty has varying tech levels, but the general tech level of the entirety of the sovereignty would probably be very advanced. Their technology is extremely strong and powerful. They are more obsessed with genetics and eugenics, but they have quite advanced technology as well to facilitate their genetic obsessions. But they are very advanced. I'm not sure like what specific answer you're looking for. You'll have to specify your question. Hey, Xerus, what's up, man?
Real quick, I don't know if you saw this, and this kind of gets into our... normally we talk at least about one tech thing, and this just popped up a couple minutes ago for me. Have you seen the video of the Xbox Series X?
No? What's up now?
Oh, good. Oh, let me find it for you. I will send it to you over DM.
Okay.
You will enjoy this.
Will I now?
You remember the Red Ring of Death?
I think.
Now, this is kind of like them saying, that was bad. How can we go worse? And people are now starting to say it's fake. I don't care that they say it's fake. It's hilarious. Let me send you this picture. I don't think this is fake, but if it is, it's a damn good job at being fake.
Okay. Oh, it's smoking. It can be faked. I mean, I could tell you how I would be able to fake that, but
it is. I'm not saying it couldn't be faked. It very easily could be faked, and that's what a lot of people are saying right now. Is hey, this could be fake. Don't take it with a grain of salt. We're investigating it, but it's like at the same time, like that's a lot of fucking smoke.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I have no idea. I would say since I have the benefit of being a PC gamer, I'm not biased. So it's quite possible it is smoking up a bitch, but the thing is, as far as I'm aware, this isn't a vent up here. Because the one review of the Xbox, the new Xbox I've seen, showed that actually the light coming out of here was painted on, and that this is actually a closed off port. Like, this isn't a vent. So smoke seeping out of it seems unlikely. But at the same time, like, I don't know what other factors could cause the smoke to erupt out of the top. So
and that's still kind of funny. Like, I don't even care if it is fake. Like, even if it is fake, someone went through the trouble of putting like a smoke machine in one of those. It's still kind of cool, even in that perspective. So, either way, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think it looks neat. And,
yeah.
But I'm not invested one way or the other if it's good or not.
I think I will probably end up getting one, but I'm gonna wait about a year or two. A, for the price to go down, and B, until shit like that is real.
I probably won't. Like, I have no reason to get the new generation of consoles at all. I would say, like, I have no rush to get them at all.
I mean, I'm starting to really get out of them. I mean, I still do play on my Xbox for like
Hey,
and I could
Cavantis,
get,
welcome to the stream. Sorry about that.
and I, no, you're fine. And I could get Inquisitor Martyr for Steam, but like Mass Effect, I don't think I would have to do some digging on how to get that one.
I get you. What's up? Why no face today? Oh yeah, my webcam's dead. I now gotta buy a new one, which I did, but you know, I wasn't budgeting for it, so that was a major expense all at once. So hopefully, you know, if I cut prices and you know things I usually buy for like groceries and such, I think I can save enough money and make up for it. So hopefully we'll be fine there. But yeah, my webcam's dead. I assume it's dead. I might be able to get it to work, like unplug it, plug it back in, and like try and squeeze out what left of its life I can before the new one arrives, because it's gonna be probably a week or two before the new webcam arrives. But till then, this webcam is donezo as far as I can tell. The suit looks really cool, Asmo. Thank you. And thank you to Purist, by the way, because we spent a good amount of time, you know, me describing to him what I was looking for the redesign. We went back and forth on a couple different things, but this is what we ended up having for the final product, and I am sticking to it. This is what the majority of Helsings will look like. This is their bulk force. This would be, I guess, the 40k equivalent of like the standard Space Marine armor. This would be what they look like standardly.
In a few years' time, there will be nerds saying, "No, they could kill Space Marine."
The Quartering just made a video about Xbox. I don't really watch the Quartering, so I'd have to look for that. But I'm not particularly interested. Like I said, I'm PC gamer. My PC I know won't erupt into flames and smoke because I built it myself, so if it does anyway, it would be my own fault. Spent quite some time playing Legend of Zelda on GameCube, so don't say consoles aren't worth some money. And good for you, but I really don't think they are worth getting. Not like, you know, I'm glad you enjoyed playing, you know, those games on the GameCube and all that, but consoles haven't been good since then. Like, in my opinion, PS4 was fine. It was okay. But I still had a computer I built myself was way more powerful. So, PC gaming all the way. I don't really like consoles. I use my PS4 to watch Hulu and stuff on my TV. That's literally it. I don't play any games on it.
I will normally, I normally don't mind playing on my Xbox or my PC, but on the 2-3 games that I have on both, I definitely do prefer playing them on PC.
Yeah. Anyway, Grimdark as a whole seems very cool as well. Thank you. Yeah, we've fleshed out quite a few races, and the lore is pretty extensive so far. I've written everything myself, so I had some contributions from my the writer I hired on when we were first starting to get flowing going, but most of the stuff he wrote is either non-canon now or been completely rewritten, unfortunately. So yeah, pretty much that's actually why I'm still not willing to hire on any additional writers, because with how much this stuff is in flux and how hard it is to afford paying for the artwork as it is, I can't really afford to hire a writer and pay them what they're worth. So I just gotta do that myself, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the Helsing concept on average. We're gonna get I'm gonna get Pyrrhus to design the other ones much later. For right now, I just wanted the average design. That being said, I have 2 other pieces of artwork. People on my Patreon and Discord have already seen these. Discord specific people in the Discord have seen this. But for those who are my patrons of Patreon, they get to see this stuff too. This is the concept for the Rathan. Like I explained before, they're half hyena, half rats, and they're anthropomorphic, half rats, half hyenas. And you can very easily picture them making the hyena laugh. That's actually how they talk to one another. It's through that kind of communication. That's their language. That and like clicking their teeth together. Those are like the two ways they speak words to one another in their language. They're one of their species. There's one war boss amongst the Rathan. That would be war boss Rith. He's the he and his entire clan are obsessed with slaves. That's like their main thing that they want when they raid someone or a culture, is they want fresh slaves. That's his big thing. That's his big trade. So he's also one of the older war bosses. One thing that's a niche about Rathan is they get physically bigger and smarter the longer they live. And that's why war bosses are usually the biggest and are usually the biggest and smartest, because they've lived the longest. They're usually hundreds of years old. Like war boss Rith, he's 385. Trying to make sure that's. I don't want to pull up the doc to double check the number, but I believe it's 385 years old, and he's pretty big and he's very smart, to the point where he's developed a voice boxer that he puts on his throat, and he can actually talk to humans in their languages. He's figured out how to do that. He's only been able to figure out their language and the language of the Gretsch, which are a different race altogether. But that's about it. But yeah, the Rathan look like this without any armor on. This is their general form. Their armor is generally shaped like this. It's more paneled. Usually it's scrappy. The colors usually match that of their war boss of their specific clan. Clan Rith, they're green, and they like a lot of electrical weaponry and things that they can hook people with. I'd compare them to the hook rats you see in like Vermintide, except that's all of them. Like they're obsessed with slaves. So when they're fighting an enemy, their focus isn't killing them, it's capturing them. They will kill if it's like a kill or be killed situation. But if they see it even remotely possible they can capture you alive and sell you or use you as a slave, they will. Clan Kythe is what this clan right here is reflecting. Clan Kythe, their war boss, by the way, each clan is named after the war boss. So if they get a new war boss, the clan completely rebrands and renames itself based on the new war boss. But in Clan Kythe, war boss Kythe is the youngest of the Rathan. Rathan war bosses, I should say. He's only 98. Which is extremely young for a war boss. Most war bosses are, again, 100 plus years old. Kythe took over from who his war boss was when he first was rising up the ranks of his clan. And that was war boss Rin, W-R-Y-N, Rin. Clan Rin became Clan Kythe after he killed the war boss and took his spot. He's the dumbest war boss, by far. He's not obsessed with slaves like Rith is. He's obsessed with weapons and things that go boom. Like, he likes destructive forces, explosives, weapons. He has no idea how to use this shit. But he still, like, steals it, and that's his main loot he wants in raids. Like all Rathan clans, they still steal pretty much a little bit of everything. Like slaves, food, weapons, armaments, whatever they can steal. But each clan has something they specifically want out of each raid. And with Kythe, his is weapons. Like I want the sharpest. I want the biggest booms. I want the things that shoot the fastest. Like that's Kythe. And there's a number of other war bosses and clans that I've written. Two that come to mind are clan. Man, her name always slips my head, but it's the only war boss that's a female. Kaina is what comes to mind. I think I have to check my notes. I don't want to pull them up though. But for now we'll run with that name. Clan Kaina is got the only female war boss, and her obsession for loot is not slaves, not weapons. She's more obsessed with armaments, defenses, things that can increase her force's survival rate. She's big on armor. She's big on defenses, so that's her niche. One thing to note about females and males in the Rathan society, most of the time females are allocated to breeding stock. Now, keep in mind, this is not like a narrative on sexism or anything like that. It's just efficiency. There's nothing personal with why they make these decisions. They don't have a concept of sexism. It's what do we require more? Do we have very few warriors being produced on a regular basis, and we're killing too many of our own to maintain a sizable raiding force? Okay, we need more breeding stock so we can, recoup our numbers. Oh, do we have plentiful breeders, but we need more warriors and more fighters? Okay, put the females into the warrior stock. That's how it's run. It's just what's the need, what's the focus. And in her clan, she took over from her war boss 212 years ago. And since then, she's been running her clan. But her obsession is definitely armor. Another thing biologically that's different about males and females in terms of the Rathan is females are much bigger. They grow faster. Like, the standard rate is a newborn Rathan, which would be about the size of a football when they come out, when they're born. A male will be within 7 days will go from that little football to 6 foot in size in just 1 week. That's considered full grown, and they continue to grow very slowly. Like, they never stop growing, but the growth is so minimal. Like, year to year, if you were to try and measure it, you might catch like a centimeter of growth, an expansion of how much bigger they're getting. So that's why it takes hundreds of years for them to get massive. But they never stop growing. And that includes their brain size. So, the older war bosses are just biologically got bigger brains. So that's why, they're able to maintain their position. But females are different from males. Mainly because of the fear, their society is very, is evil. They were the first society I wrote for the Grimdark. They're fucking evil. And that's what I wanted. When I was writing them, I was thinking, okay, I want a faction that's pretty much pure evil to any other faction. Who would be the boogeyman of this universe? Who's the one ship you'd never want to see, not in your orbit, but in your star cluster? What's a ship you never want to know you exist? What's a race? What's a culture you never want to encounter, and why do you never want to encounter them? And that's what I answered when I created the Rathan. I wrote them first, I've continued to write them quite a bit, and they have a fuck ton of issues. So they are pretty savage. They're a horde fighting race, if it wasn't too obvious. They fight in massive numbers. Each of them are each clan has several ships, but their main ship is what's called a raid barge. It's basically the ship is split up into 4 sections. You have the cargo bay, which is what I call it, but realistically it's just the bulk of the ship, and it's just this massive open space. Probably would look like a city. There's even almost a horizon in the ship with how big this section of the ship is. It's where all the adults live. It's where all the main bulk of their culture lives on the barge. It's where the bulk of the clan is. And just imagine this wide open space. There's benches, there's places to sit or tables and stuff like that. There's even little boxes and stuff like that of loot they've stolen and food and stuff. But from the ceiling and from the sides of the walls, just picture a bunch of hanging hammocks where all of them sleep and rest. That's pretty much, they all live in this space. It's just this giant hodgepodge of a living space. They don't have rooms, they don't have, little small dens. It's just this massive open space on the ship. And we're talking 5 million Rathan fit into this space. Not comfortably, but they fit into this space. Then you have the bridge, which is where the war boss will live and will also control the ship. What? Oh, I thought you said, Lotus?
Oh, yeah, I was saying, yeah, but they're rats, so that's kind of their thing.
Yeah. Well, rats crossed with hyenas. There's, so the bridge, the massive cargo bay, and the other 2 sections would be the engineering section, which you kind of got to put that in air quotes. It's really just where whatever shit that they've developed that you would call an engine is. And then you have the breeding stock, which is the second biggest area in the ship. It's only accessible to the war boss if the war boss is smart. If you're like Kythe, you might be an idiot and leave it open so other Rathan could sneak in there and fuck with shit, literally. But a smart war boss will have that section completely cordoned off and controlled because that's your breeding stock. And you don't you want the strongest of your warriors to produce, the next set of warriors for your clan. So you have even better and more efficient killers and fighters and raiders. So a smart war boss will control what breeding stock is bred with what, and that also it prevents the newborns from dying immediately, because they need those warriors to grow up at least enough to join the horde. So it's usually a cordoned off section of the ship, only accessible to the war boss and maybe his lieutenants. Clan Rith has a few lieutenants. But most of the time it's primarily only accessible to the war boss. And keep in mind, for those who don't know this part of the lore, I've explained this part to quite a few people. So I don't know if I've ever said it on a video before, but I'll say it here. The Rathan are terrifying because of, they raid and they kill and they eat people. They eat their own. They're cannibals as well. They eat their own. They eat others. That's when they're low on food, they'll just fight each other, and whoever's weaker will get eaten. So they eat each other, they're cannibals, and they eat everyone else. And if you're made of some form of meat, they can and will eat you. But that's not even the worst part about them. They're also very... they R-word a lot. Like, a lot. Like each other, they don't care if you're male, female, big, small, they don't give a shit. If they are feeling like it in the moment, they will R-word each other a lot. And others. The other scary part is, they are capable of breeding with any culture that has similar sex organs.
That's funny.
That's terrifying, because
that's hilarious.
You will have them, and the other part is their genetics they're biologically designed that whatever if they breed with you, and they can, females of a specific race will get pregnant with their kind. First of all, they breed you a minimum of 7 or 6 of their kind. Secondly, the genetics aren't split evenly. It's not 50-50. Their genetics are like a parasite. That's often why. So what you're producing, or what a slave that they've stolen from another race would produce, would be 95% Rathan, and maybe 5% their race, and we're talking maybe. So
my favorite race in your Grimdark.
They are fucking terrifying. When I created them, they were the first race I thought of, and I was thinking, what is the worst, most evil, most menacing, and most terrifying culture I can produce that would be the boogeymen of this galaxy? It would be the Rathan. They are terrifying. They are not cowardly, by the way. They will retreat a lot, but they're not retreating ever because they're actually afraid. They will actually rather die than run away. If they retreat, it's because of a strategy. It's because they're being skeevy little assholes. Like, a good comparison would say is, like, if you're like, let's say you capture one and you're walking down a hallway in the ship and you're escorting it to be interrogated. It'll bite and latch onto your shoulder. Your shoulder's now gushing blood. You poke it in the eyes, and then you stab it in the leg with a bayonet, and then you're about to shoot it, and then it goes, no, mercy. Obviously in its own language. And it'll plead for its life. And then if you spare it, and then you let it up, and then you move it forward, and it's still quivering, the moment you slightly look away, it'll then lash out again. And this time it splayed open your chest a little bit, and then you shoot it, and you shoot it in the gut. It's still alive, and then it runs down the hallway and turns a corner. You chase after it, you turn the corner, and the moment you turn the corner, it grabs your head, latches on, and then begins ripping your brain out of your skull while it's biting out your throat. They only feign cowardice to get an advantage on you. They would rather die than actually be taken. And they don't really care for their own lives that much. The priority is loot. If they die, it sucks, but they at least died trying to get some loot. That's pretty much their philosophy.
You're making me like this race more.
I'm glad you like them. But yeah, each clan is definitely defined primarily by their war boss. Rith is, like I said, he's one of the older war bosses. He's smart. He's cunning. He's obsessed with slaves. They're his favorite commodity. And also Rathan do have a trading system. They do trade with other cultures, but rarely, and it depends on the culture and what they're trading. For example, the Rathan trade with the Volk. The Volk are, I won't give too many details, but they're the spider race. The Rathan don't like them in the sense that they're not good slaves. They're not good food. Everything about them doesn't serve their normal interests, like their normal raid obsession. Because slave-wise, they're completely useless. Like, Volk, once they're removed from their society, they just shut down. They don't function. They don't, like, even if you torture them, they won't obey. They are programmed from their birth to only do a certain task in their society. So once they're removed from that society, you got like a soulless exoskeleton puppet. Essentially, it's not a good slave. So they're useless in that sense. And they have awesome weaponry, but again, Rith isn't really... In Rith's mind, it's like, I'm not going to lose 2 million of my Rathan just to get a couple pieces of weaponry we don't know how to use. So, not worth it in that sense. So, in this case, because the Rathan see no major benefit, and they can't breed with them either, because Volk are very different biologically, like to the point where even they, with their fucked up genetics, can't breed with them. So, there's no point. So in all the ways that the Rathan normally would raid and destroy a culture, it would be wasted effort on the Volk. So Rith just trades with them. And the Volk are a fan of slaves. Because they're a very pragmatic race. They like to research, and they don't want slave, like for example, if they were offered human slaves, they wouldn't want them because of labor. They have their own culture that's better at the labor they want done. They want that slave because they want to experiment. To them, it's a study subject. It's like, oh, I want to study that thing's brain. Like I want to know how that thing works. So the Volk would take slaves from Clan Rith. It's one of their biggest trades. And the Volk in turn would give them technology, would give them armor, would give them whatever they want at the time. That's what they would consider an equal trade for the slave research subjects. So, the Rathan benefit, and they don't lose any of their own kind in the process. Different clans will trade with different cultures depending on what they peddle. But Rith mainly trades with the Volk. And only the Volk, really. Every other culture, it's just raid, steal, raid, steal, steal, steal. Enslave, 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 enslave. But the Rathan are definitely the boogeyman of this galaxy. If you see a raiding barge plummeting to your planet, you're fucked. Because a horde of these fuckers will reave and destroy and steal everything. And if it's Clan Rith, the females might want to commit suicide. Because they'll have better chances. So, again, I had to go to a dark place to write most of their shit. But, yeah, the Rathan are the most fleshed out. Since I started writing them first, and I've continued to write a plethora of their lore. There's just so much shit. How about a Rathan with a human face? That would be nasty. Unlikely? Again, their genetics are very pervasive and parasitic. It's breeding is a kind word to describe what they do. So, it wouldn't work out really how you want. Again, even if they bred with a human multiple times, this is essentially what you're getting. But, yeah. Rathan. Alright, let me catch up with you guys. I know a couple of you chatted while I was talking about them. Alright, breathe. So the setting is still in concept mode with details on lore being made and remade while also being erased when it doesn't fit. Not quite. It's past that stage at this point. Significant. There's going to be no changes to what I've written so far. Everything I've written so far is canon and is remaining so. I'm adding details, but I'm not removing any now. So I'm not in that state of flux anymore. We were a while back, but that has been undone, essentially. Like, there's quite a bit of concrete that this is where this information is remaining. The visuals are all everything minus that, you know, my own icon's sake, like this thing. Oh, whoops. You know, this thing right here. That's no longer canon, but pretty much every artwork after that is now canon. Like the Rathan are definitively visually designed like this. So yeah, I'd say you're partly right in the sense that I haven't written the lore for everything, and once I get started on certain races more in-depthly, I'm sure details will change as I go. But for the Rathan and for the Sovereignty in particular, those two are pretty much as concrete as they're getting. But that's because I spent the most amount of time on them, and I do not want to change the details at this point. It's already had a little bit of flux in their writing as it is. I'm listening to shit and talking about shit and taking a shit and doing some shit. All the shit is coming to town. Santa Claus. They seem like a happy bunch, kinda. I mean, their lifestyle is definitely what they like. I mean, they don't see anything wrong with what they do. Ludus looks a little bored. Yeah, he's probably bored listening to me rail on about something he doesn't care about.
I'm not. I'm just... Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what my week has been like, yeah, if you don't mind...
Exhausting?
Well, if you don't mind, I was going to go into that real quick, just to
go
clarify
ahead.
why.
I need a break from talking anyway.
So... Over the course of 3 days earlier this week, I went to the ER twice in the absolute worst amount of pain I've ever been in because they thought I had kidney stones.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I thought I told you that.
You didn't tell me about the kidney stone.
Okay. So, yeah, the second time I went was actually the day before Taylor went to the urgent care, which was yesterday. And then Taylor, my wife, went to urgent care yesterday, come find out she might have COVID. So we are quarantined. I'm quarantined until either her tests come back negative or we're completely cleared. So that's been my week so far. And in addition to that, last night I recorded a lore video and edited 9 videos. So my week has been a little bit exhausting.
Yeah.
So that it's not that I'm bored. I'm really not. I like I said, I really do love. I love the Rathan. I do. They bring out the sadomasochist in me.
They are definitely sadomasochists.
But it's just that I'm completely and totally exhausted at this point, and I hate the fucking ER. So, actually, here's something you might find funny at my expense, Esma.
I don't like laughing at your expense.
No, this is actually, even I will admit, is kind of funny. At the moment, I was super pissed about it. The first time I went to the ER, they gave me 3 drugs, 2 painkillers, and 1 for nausea, okay?
Right.
It put me out, like, in 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I was just like, no. Just out. I didn't go the next day, but the day after that, I went back to the ER with the same problem. They said, yes, still probably kidney stones, just one of those. So instead of giving me any kind of painkiller, they just give me an anti-nausea drug. And I already have problems with anxiety. This shit made me paranoid.
Oh, jeez.
And they're like, oh, yeah, that's a side effect. I'm like, what the? Then why the fuck did you give it to me?
Hey, oh, yeah, that's a side effect. We'll mention that after the fact.
Yeah.
Thanks, assholes.
Anxiety is a side effect of it. So you give something. You give someone who has already said they have issues with anxiety a drug that will increase that anxiety. Are y'all fucking dumb?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, that was actually fun because I had the IV in. I was walking around pacing. My dad had to drive me to the ER, and he went out to go smoke a cigarette. I'm like, Dad, I need you to come back in right now. He's like, why? Like, I can't take this shit anymore. I'm going crazy.
Well, at least that is a good thing your dad was there, though, like to help you
Yeah.
out.
Well, so the first time, it's actually kind of funny. The first time my mom took, the second time my dad took me. And when my mom took me is the time when they gave me the really good shit. And they're like, okay, you're good to go. Like, okay. I walk out, she's like, are you okay? Like, I'm not in pain. That's all that matters. I was like, I was doing like some Stevie Wonder shit for me. I was like, yeah, it's all good.
Don't do that to me.
It's true. And then when my dad took me, I was like so pissed to leave, and I was like, oh my god, if they ever give me that shit again, I'm going to lose my mind.
That's why you memorize the name of it and tell them if you're in a similar situation, give me this, you die.
Like, well, I don't know what the name of it was, but I do remember that it started with a V. Like, if you ever give me a nausea medicine, let me know what it is first. If it starts with a V, and if it's the one that I think it is, don't fucking give it to me.
Yeah, not a good idea.
You will literally have to pry me off of the ceiling to get that shit in my IV. By the way, for anyone wondering, kidney stones fucking suck.
I am well aware. I haven't had one, but I've had a friend who I've known my entire life. He had a kidney stone last year.
Oh, yeah.
When he was living with me. So at first I thought he had like cancer or something. I was like, Jesus, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like he was crying and shit, like in so much pain. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then he's like, I have no idea, but I'm in the most pain I've ever been in my life. And he's like tears streaming down his face. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm calling you an ambulance. He's like, don't you dare call me an ambulance. I'm like, well, you look like you're in enough pain. I think, like, you look like you're being tortured. And no one can do that to you but me. So I called up, that's when I just called up my sis and I said, hey, can you drive him to the hospital while I go to work? So, you know, she dropped me off at work and, you know, she goes picks him up at our mutual apartment. Because he usually drove me to work because he was the only one with a car at that time. My car was broken. And she goes pick him up at our apartment and she takes him and then she calls me laughing. Like, I'm at work, by the way, and I was in the middle of talking to a Navy lieutenant at the time about the current designs we're working on. And my phone goes off and he's like, you know, you're not supposed to have that on, right? I went, I only have it on for emergencies. He's like, well, answer it, but outside. So I walk out of the facility and I answer the call and I'm pissed because I'm like, why are you fucking calling me at work? And she's laughing and giggling. I'm like, what? She went, you want to know what was wrong with him? I'm like, what? He's got a kidney stone. And she started laughing. I'm like, not sure if I should laugh or not. I'm laughing. I kind of want to laugh because I'm like, I'm happy it wasn't like cancer or like a parasite or something like a xenomorph in his gut or something. I'm happy it wasn't that. And so I kind of want to laugh for that, but at the same time, a kidney stone I don't think is worth laughing at. It's a lot of pain. I know that much logically. So I'm like, why are you laughing? She's like, because I thought it was something so bad. And the doctor just comes in, and even the doctor apparently delivered it like, yeah, you're fine. It's just a kidney stone.
So how they told me is they're like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, because they had issues getting a urine sample when I finally was able to get one. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, there was a lot of blood in your urine, but we think it's kidney stone.
What?
Hold on. Let's start at one. How much blood? Oh no, just a lot. Like, wait, What? How can you say it that way?
Apparently, easily.
Yeah, apparently. They're like, oh, no, it's fine. It's within reasonable levels. Like, no, you know what's within reasonable levels? None. No blood.
Oh my fucking god.
And by the way, Myron, I have seen the Green Mile. They do not depict kidney stones that well. Like, the lack of sleep, yeah, sure, but not the pain. No, not the pain.
No, like, it's depicted as painful, it's rough, but that movie makes them seem more bearable to me, like...
And what they really are, yes.
Yeah, like, they're oh god. Like, again, I haven't had one, I never want one. I chug water on a daily basis to make sure that my gut is constantly being filtered out of the salt and the other particulates that build up into making a kidney stone. But by fucking god, it looked so painful. Like, I will never forget the look on my roommate's face. Just the tears streaking down his face. Like, it just looked like he was trying to take a shit. But really like, just... Again, that I'll never forget the look on his face. I'm like, I never want to go through that.
The urine sample, so I don't know how dark it was. I think I told my mom. My mom told me, I don't remember having this conversation with her. Apparently, it was like dark orange or brown. So if it's that color, there's more than enough blood in there. If there's even a little blood in there, there's more than enough blood in there. Just thought.
Yeah. I love how we went from 40k to Asmogon's Gun Dark to kidney stones and pissing blood. You know, sometimes conversation just flows in ways you could never have predicted. By the way, Scarlet Games, is that the name of your company? Yes, it is.
It's not what you can do for Slanesh. Ask what Slanesh can do for you.
Oh, yeah, I guess I haven't shown people my my company's logo.
I feel bad for making that joke, and it was even at my expense.
Actually, I got a couple different logos I had developed, but this is like the main one.
Up on the screen because there's like a 30-second delay.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of see it, but it's small up in the corner of the artwork. There we go.
But yep, that's the company logo.
Remember, because you were showing off like early ideas of what you wanted it to be.
Yeah. So by the way, for anybody, trolls who may watch this in the future, just know I do have the image copywritten to me. I do have that trademarked, so just to let you know, if anyone wants to rip off that image and try and make it their own, I will sue you, and you will lose. I have proof that I designed it. Well, I have proof that I designed the first rendition. That's the second one. The second one I had developed by a professional logo designer. Let's see. Let me pull up mine. What my original one was. There it is. That was my original one. And, he pointed out to me, he's like, it looks like a bar thing. Like, it looks like you would put that over like a bar and name a bar like that. I said, why? He's like, oh, well, the scrape design, it almost gives a wood effect. So, he then developed this one. He said it looked a lot cooler, and I agreed. So, we walked away. Both are still copywritten to me, though, and I have proof that they are both mine. So, yeah, any shady folks who want to steal that, good luck. But I can sue you into the ground, and I don't even need a lawyer to do it.
I think I have a good use for the first one if you ever do want to use it. It's like if you ever get like a brick and mortar store similar to like the Games Workshop stores, that would probably look good as the logo for one of those.
Probably. I do know I want to keep the original design for like if I have like if I open up a studio, an actual like building where I have staff and stuff, I do want that logo printed, and I want there to be an in-house bar where I work, and I just want to put that right over the bar, just right there. Yeah. This last piece, most of the Discord community have seen. This one depicts a specific character in the lore. This is probably going to end up being a book cover for her story. But this is Melina. She is the Vanguard captain. She's a Helsing as well. And she's 315, 316. I'm trying to remember which number I put down. 315 sounds correct to me. So she's 315 years old. She's one of the older Helsings. She's in Spec Ops, the Vanguard. She's the Vanguard captain of their second Vanguard company. And she is a very, very strong character. I gotta say, writing her lore was fun. I can't wait to write it out in like a book form. Looks kind of Age of Sigmar. Well, I guess you could say that from the armament. The style of the sovereignty is very much inspired by like ancient medieval military mixed with sci-fi. Pierce is more comfortable designing that like that because that's like his favorite kind of. He's a very big history nut. So when it came to the aesthetic, I had a very similar like intention. I wanted the Helsings to have more medieval inspired armor. So when we came into our initial process discussing like what it would look like, obviously our initial rendition is again what like my avatar looks like, you know, right above and where my webcam usually is right now. That was like our initial design. And in that one, later on, some mutual friends pointed out a lot of flaws with it, a lot of issues with it, a lot of too many similarities to certain other franchises. So, after, getting that criticism, I kicked in my heels and I went, okay, redesign. We're going to really redesign the Helsings from how they're depicted here and give them a new look. So that's what we decided to do. And yeah, that ended up coming out as the redesign you guys saw first in this stream, like the first one earlier. That was the official redesign. Here was when we first started incorporating the redesigns, in particular the helmet design. And on Melina herself, she's a Vanguard, so lighter armament. Still armored, but again, much lighter, much quicker. She even got jets on the bottom of her feet. These are like boosters. They're not like Iron Man, like I could fly with this, but to like dodge attacks, to move quickly and efficiently on the battlefield, and to even increase her basic movement speed. Those. They also just give her a really powerful jump away from combat if she's getting overwhelmed.
Kind of makes sense, yeah.
She is also, by the way, still 7'5". She's still the average size of a female Helsing. And male Helsings. Most are all roughly the same size. So she's still that size. I know it's hard to tell. Especially since the Rathen are so big as well. They're naturally pretty large creatures, so to her, they don't give her as proper scale. Doesn't help she's standing on a giant mound of their corpses as well, so the scaling here is a little harder to tell. But yeah, she's the average size of a Helsing.
It's okay. I'm kind of stuck on the jet.
You're stuck on them?
Well, this is just something that I'm thinking about because I've always seen them like either at the lowest, like at the waist. I very rarely see them in the feet, and I'm just trying to, because I get that it would only increase like maybe her base movement, increase her ability to dodge stuff like that.
That's pretty much all it's for.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like because that would make sense from the tabletop perspective. I'm just trying to like I said, it's rare for me to see them that way. Like I normally see them like the waist or the shoulder blades, but it's a full on jetpack.
Yeah, on her and the most vanguards, they have just these little boosters right by their ankles. Now, on a normal human, the burst that these can erupt into to give her like that speed burst of speed or jump
Would be hilarious.
it would probably snap their legs off. But with how strong Helsings are genetically, not only their muscles, but their bone density is incredible. So for her, and for any Helsing really, this wouldn't hurt her to use, but a normal human can't.
I was just thinking of it making like forcing them to cartwheel before ripping their legs off.
Yeah. Be right back. All that talk about pee made me. Alright, well, we're going Marine. Go pee. I love how we went. Okay, so we're alright. And then it gets to the okay. This screams American. What screams American? Your logo is way better than my logo for War Stars. Thank you. Your logo. Oh, I almost read that again. It looks kind of. I read that earlier. I don't get much Age of Sigmar from it. I'm not. Again, I'm not a fan or familiar with Age of Sigmar / Warhammer Fantasy. That end of the hobby. So for me, I don't see similarity or do. Like if you guys do, that's fine. You know. But if anyone's wondering if there was an inspiration, no. Mostly just medieval armor and styling is what really influenced the Sovereignty's aesthetic. But mostly like, I want to say Germanic medieval times, particularly. But that was like the bigger visual influence history as opposed to others universes.
Corn wants to know why my hair is greenish looking. It's like because shitty lighting and shitty camera.
Those are not a good combo for lighting your hair in a good color.
Nah.
Maybe he is the Joker. So, are you the Joker?
I am slowly becoming a nihilist, so it is possible.
Well, it depends on which version of the Joker, I guess. Joaquin Phoenix's?
I have yet to see that, actually.
Really?
Yes, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, you might want to check that out, because I think that joke will hit a little harder if you were familiar. Oh yeah, one fun fact about the Helsings in the Sovereignty's lore. They're cloned from a genetic mass. So they're not cloned from specific people or things in their history. It's more like a set of artificial... Well, it's combined with a little bit of real DNA, but it's very like minor, and it's only from a couple unique individuals. But the amount of factors that has on appearance or, you know, anything else, it's more like they just use those genetics as like a base to start building off of. And they're pretty much developed... that ear rape, man? What?
The laugh.
Oh. Yeah, sorry if that was a little loud. That's like my version of the Joker's laugh, but yeah, anyway. The Helsings are, again, cloned from this genetic mass of artificial biomass. It's just, again, different genetics that they've refined over many, many years. It's not like from a person, again. It's mostly artificial. It's how they develop them into these massive fighters and super soldiers. Only one in every 100 Helsings is female. It's considered a genetic anomaly, and they're not treated any differently. They're still just as useful, just as genetically refined. It's just rarer in the genetic sequencing for a female to be produced. Again, like I said, they don't treat them any differently. It's just like a fun fact on the side. So there are a lot less females amongst the Helsings ranks. But most of the time, you know, they just kind of blend into the numbers. Melina, in her case, She is, again, she's over 300 years old, so that's how many years of service she's in. The Helsings, when they're first, birthed out of their embryo chambers and they pop out, they do actually take them out of their chambers when they resemble a 10-year-old. So when they resemble a 10-year-old, but usually a 10-year-old Helsing looks like, well, height-wise and height and muscle tone will resemble more like a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old, but in the face and in their general features, they'll still look more to a 10-year-old. So it's kind of like a mixture of the two. And they grow really fast. Basically similar to, like, if you guys have seen Star Wars, the cloning process developed for the clones, then the Clone Wars, like, they pop out as little kids, and then within months, they're grown-ups. Well, with Helsings, it's a matter of a month. They go, once they're over 2 months old, by that point, they are full grown. They're full 7'5", muscle toned, ready for battle. And in that 2 months, they spend that entire 2 months training, learning battle tactics, weapon strategy, weapon usage, and how to disassemble and assemble their weapons. They're taught martial combat. They're taught basically everything they need to know for battle by other Helsings. Typically, veteran Helsings will, usually of the Vanguard or of the Bulwark, and some occasionally from the Assault class, will teach the newborns, or fledglings as they're referred to, and will, get them up to par. Once, and during this time, keep in mind, like, every day when they wake up, they're slightly bigger. So, imagine basically, like, going from the size, the equivalent, I guess, would be like, if you were 10 years old, you went to bed, and then you woke up and you were 14. You went to bed, you woke up, next day you're 18. Went to bed, go ahead, you're 24, and so on and so forth, until they reach, like, their physical peak, and then they stop physically aging. On the inside, they're aging, but, like, on outward appearance, in terms of how it affects their bones or their muscles, it's minimal. Most of the effects is on their blood. Over a large course of time, their blood is very... It kind of corrodes. But in her case, if you have to scroll really close, Helsings, even compared to Crypta, which is like their normal vampire variant of their society, Crypta lived to be 250 on average. If you get a steady flow of blood, if you're living a comfortable lifestyle, and you're not a Stein or a regular combatant. If you're a civilian, you'll get a healthy diet of blood, and you're just living a normal life. A normal Crypta will live 250 years. Helsings, no one knows how long they could live, because the oldest ones that have ever existed died in battle. So it's not known how long a Helsing could live if left out of battle, if just left alone.
And actually, it's funny you mention that, because I love seeing the argument of, like, Astartes and 40k, like, how old do they get? It is said at least 2 or 3 times that in just the Horus Heresy books that Astartes don't age. The way they die is through combat.
Yeah, that's same for the Helsings. They haven't, like, the age that they could max hit is not known for Helsings. Again, for normal Crypta, 250 years is the average. They live a very decently long time, but unless you're like nobility, where you get like genetic, like, yeah, if you're nobility, you're wealthy, you're like a government administrator, a planetary governor. If you're any of those like higher ranks and you live like an affluent lifestyle, like I said before, the sovereignty is very obsessed with geneticism, with eugenics, with advanced technologies. Like, that's their niche. That's what they like most. So in the upper echelons, you can actually afford to basically purchase surgeries and genetic advancements and have your life extended even more past the 250 years. The Empress for the sovereignty, for example, she's the only monarch and leader the sovereignties ever known. She's the oldest living. She's the oldest living crypta, and she has had her genetics regularly changed and altered and advanced. So no one is certain exactly how old she is, but she's well over almost 2,000 years old in their timeline. Dante and Bjorn, assuming you mean Bjorn the Fell-Handed, are the oldest living Space Marines with over 10,000 years of age. And yeah, Bjorn the Fell-Handed was actually a young Space Marine back when Leman Russ had that vision during a Great Hall Feast and then left and then never came back.
Well, so to my knowledge, Dante is actually closer to 1,200 to 2,000 at this point.
Yeah.
And Bjorn is kind of a special case because he's a dreadnought. So, and he was and I believe he was turned into a dreadnought either during or shortly after the Horus Heresy. So,
indeed,
he's can't really include him. There aren't I think Dante is the oldest living Space Marine. Not dreadnought, not anything special about him, just oldest living right now.
Exactly. Yeah, the timeline for this universe, for the Grimdark, is very different. It's not 40,000 years in the future. From the start of their history, they're in the year 2871 from their timeline. And their timeline starts with the three spears of humanity entering the galaxy. And basically migrating to three different unique sections of this galaxy's space. No one, except me, I haven't even written it down to avoid people, avoid it ever getting in the wrong hands, knows exactly how many years in our timeline ahead of our future this would be. But it's been well over almost 3,000 years since humanity came to this galaxy. Sorry, not 3,000. I'm forgetting a zero. 30,000. It's almost been 30,000. So sorry, it's 28,887. Sorry, I was only saying 1,000. That was my bad. But yeah, they're in 20K of their timeline compared to where our future is. What timeline this would be? I know the answer. It's a very large number, but I'm not going to say the number. I'm not going to say how far in the future because that'd be spoilers, and I'm going to keep that. The biggest mystery of the lore that I know all the answers to, again, I've written all this part out, but the biggest secrets of the universe I will keep in my own head permanently until, if the hobby ever meets its end, I'll reveal it. But this will be my universe's version of the two lost Primarchs and their legions, kind of, is what happened in the past. How far in the future is this from our timeline, and why is it humanity came to this galaxy? That's the biggest mystery I want to maintain.
Right.
So yeah. But from their timeline, they're in the 30th millennium, if you will, or they're approaching it. Like I said, by the first edition. The first edition is going to take place in the 29th, I guess it would be, millennium. So that's where it's at. Humanity is very old. Yes, they are. Are how much older? Again, I can't reveal that, but they are an older race. To the point where, again, they've sectioned off into this galaxy in three different places. You have the sovereignty on the homeworld, on their core world of Mordred. You have the Warborn on their core world of Ragnarok. And then you have the Terran Republic on their core world of Typhus. Those are their three core sections, and none of them are fans of each other. And for the longest time in their history, they actually weren't 100% sure the others existed. because it was just some old stories and archives about the 2 other spears of their kind that were out there, but they didn't know anything about them, and they were kind of like myths and legends until they, of course, ran into each other, and as things happen to do, war. But that'll all be stories you guys get to read, hopefully. I have a lot of books to write. I've written it all out in an outline, too. So I actually have a sheet where I've written the timeline of every major event. And I'm like, I gotta write a book for that, I gotta write a book for that, I gotta write a book for that, gotta write a book for that, gotta write a book for that, gotta write a series of books for this, gotta write a book for that, gotta write a book for that, gotta write a book for that. So I'm just looking at this timeline I've laid out, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. And that's just the outline, too. Like writing the books for all this stuff is gonna be a fucking bitch. But it's gonna be fun. Hopefully. Assuming it's successful. It's a failure on arrival. It's a lot of hours wasted. Doubt it's 1 billion, but maybe 1 million, or maybe more than 10,000 years minimum. I won't spoil it. And if again, I'll probably only ever give the answer away when the hobby comes to an end, and I'm, on the final edition of it. Then I'll reveal it. But I might be dead by then, so I might take the answers to my grave, which would be awesome if this hobby got popular. If my my universe got popular, and fans after I died were like all freaking out, like, no, he didn't write it down. No one will know the answer. Damn it, he took it to his grave. And then people will speculate for like hopefully years to come, like, what was the final ending? What was the answer to those questions? And then whoever buys my rights to my creation after I'm dead will then like ruin it and like manipulate the shit out of it. And then change the answers and like, oh, well, it's actually spoilers, it's this, that, or the other, all this fucking shit. Yeah, that's one thing I fear. Asgon, have you seen the Kickstarter with pop-up terrain? Jesus, people are eating that up. Pop-up there. Also, by the way, thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated, Diego Flores. I have not seen a Kickstarter with pop-up terrain. That sounds like the picture that popped in my head when you said that was like a pop-up book. Like, you pull it open. Oh, jeez. Fuck, that's gonna kill me. It's like those old pop-up books where you just open up the page and all like that little like paper folds would pop up. Is that what that is? Because that does sound stupid. One thing I will tell you, Mustafa, for that question, why did these factions come to this particular galaxy in the first place? Escape, resources, maybe that's doubtful. Well, what I will tell you is that the word Earth is in existence in all of these cultures' languages, and the sovereignty believe the word Earth, it means great apocalypse, a great plague of death and destruction. They believe it's their word for the ultimate plague of death. The Warborn consider it the time of great weakness and destruction. It's also their word for the apocalypse. But it's their version of it. It's a time of great weakness, of great vulnerability, of decay, of corrosion of everything they believe in, and the loss of the warrior spirit. And the Terran Republic believe it's a myth about a great ancient weapon that destroyed everything. So the word Earth to them is a tale of self-destruction, of erosion. Now, is this word this way to all these cultures because of something that happened? Or is it because each of these cultures have just simply, their history is so corroded, it just melted into a couple different meanings? Who's to say? Except me. No. Is there any plans for how the game will work? Yep. I got in the current run, I definitely am looking at the style of the game and how it will play out. We haven't formulated any data sheets or unit types on the battlefield yet, but in terms of how the game will play on the tabletop, we're in the speculation stage. We're pretty far from the prototype or testing stage. We're pretty far from that right now. These cultures don't speak English, actually, Calcul. The word Earth is in each of their the word. It's pronounced in like a English tone, but it's the only English word that exists in all of their languages. And again, it means some variation of the apocalypse or the end times or the time of great weakness, but they don't speak English. For the sake of writing, like obviously I'm going to write everything in English, but just know that each of these cultures speaks a significantly different language. But they don't all speak English, no. In fact, they speak very different languages. Damn it, Ezran, don't leave us hanging. I don't intend to, but if I die before, the hobby wraps up, I definitely... I'm taking that answer to the grave with me. I think Moraine can ride the Answear out of you in no time. Nah. But good luck with that. She could try. Damn it. I just read that. I don't know if you played Grey Goo. No, I have not. But there is a plot twist where the highly advanced AI robots are actually just humans being so advanced that they just seem totally alien. Thanks for the spoiler. I appreciate it. Alright, Diego Flores. Essentially is that the floor tiles open up like a pop-up book and are legal GW tournament size. What the fuck?
I guess what it is, it's kind of like, those foldable tables? I guess it's something like that, and it, instead of being a foldable table, it's actually like the full terrain.
Wait, is it called Upzone?
I don't know.
Well, though, that's like the first thing linked. Holy shit. It's got a lot of backing. Oh, jeez, even more backing. Jesus. Upzone, the pop-up wargaming and RPG terrain system. Pop-up terrain systems are war games, miniature tabletop games, RPGs, and D&D and more. Set up in seconds and fold away completely flat. So yeah, it's like a pop-up book. Conceptually, I don't have a problem with this. And for some people, this would be a great boon to their ability to play. And a lot of people don't want to take time to buy assemblable terrain and paint it and assemble it. A lot of people don't want to have to do that. So this is just from that idea alone. And since this isn't just for 40k either. This is for all kinds of terrain. For any tabletop game. So I don't see this as a negative. I'd say what I would have a problem with is this being like the norm. Like I think this is a good alternative for people to play with. If they just want a quick, easy terrain because they just want to get to the game. They don't want to have to bring out like cardboard boxes and salt shakers, and they want something pretty cool or at least decent looking to act as the terrain. I don't see this as a negative. Not to me anyway. Now, is this, again, what I would want to do? No, I'd personally, preference-wise, I would want to play with terrain I built myself. Like, I'm currently building orc terrain. I like assembling my own orc terrain. Like, I got these little scout towers I'm making out of soda cans and some cocktail sticks, in cardboard and just some mixer sticks, paint mixers, and some, just a little bit of bits and bobs all over the place. But yeah, I like making my own terrain and, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot my webcam's not even working. And I showed it to the camera like, oh, look at this. But actually, I think I can show a picture of it from the Discord, and that would work just as well, I suppose. No, don't ask why I'm singing that. I have no idea. All right, so yeah, I found the images. Okay, so let's pull this up. So yeah, this is just terrain I'm making. I'm making for myself right now. And it's just a little orc terrain. And I like it fairly well. Let me pull up a better image. Holy shit! Why are you guys posting that shit in voice chat text? All right, I'm afraid to scroll up more, but I'm trying to find the other images. Sweet baby Jesus. Okay. I think. Hold on. Okay, there. These are better images. Boom. But yeah, this is the terrain I'm making for myself. It's just with some soda cans, cardboard, and there's one of my minis right there, just thrown on there to give scale to how it is and how it looks. It might be like 30 seconds until it pops up on there. But why are all these cultures? Okay, sorry, I already read that. So it's escape then from something that happened to Earth, and they all fled, and the fact that they all share a similar meaning is concerning for the fate of the home galaxy. Possibly. I won't spoil. Again, you might get the answer before I die. You might not. Although I kind of have like this evil side of me that's like, I kind of hope I die before the hobby wraps up. So that way, when I die and whoever buys the franchise out from under my corpse, takes over and they give their answer for that long-awaited answer to that question, people will then speculate for like so fucking long that they'll be like, you're like, oh, was this what he wanted, or was this like what they filled in? Like all this like big speculation on like whether their answer was faithful to what my original idea was. I know I kind of have the like evil side of me that kind of want to leaves people hanging. It's like, yes, yeah, I'll probably go to hell, and the devil will look at me and go, "What is wrong with you? You're just gonna leave people hanging." No one likes a cliffhanger, and I'll just look at him and go, "Get out of that chair." I don't know, kind of evil in that way, but at the same time, I do have the answer in my original writing, and I don't intend to give it away. But yeah, like I said before, Calcio, they're not speaking English. Pretty much no species. I'd say the Terran Republic speaks something similar to English, but it's not that simple. It's not like straight English. It's definitely a different language. It's hard to describe. I have to find a way to define that in a simplistic terms. But yeah, this is just the custom terrain I've been making. Years later, finally, I have found the answer for the greatest mysteries of the Grimdark. Opens book, revealing it to be blank. No! Actually, I might put that in my will. Sell a book saying that it'll be the answer to the ancient question of the Grimdark. Now, what is the origin? How far in the future is this? And then it's just a blank. Like, just a blank, whole book of blank paper. And at the end of it, like the very last page, it says, fuck you. Oh, God. My inner sadist is kind of a fan of that idea. Diego Flores, I backed it because my living condition don't allow for me storing terrain sets, and that type simplifies it so much for me. Just keeping smaller pieces for scatter. Yeah, see, for like people in your circumstance, you can't afford to make like advanced terrain. You can't afford to take the time to mix stuff up like this and just like, think of ideas and stuff. Not everyone has that luxury, so that's why I have no issues with this. It's, for me, this is just, again, another way of playing the game and saving time. And it's a pretty cool idea. Is it, again, a preference? Is it preferable to just, terrain I built myself or play with myself? I would say no. I would say I definitely prefer to make my own terrain and to have pieces that are more modular and movable on my own stuff. But this is, if anything, this is like a really good thing for a lot of people. Because a lot of people, one of their turnoffs for playing is they can't afford to take the time and don't have the space to make their own terrain. So they have to use like cardboard, salt shakers, like that kind of stuff. And it really takes out the immersion element of playing on the tabletop. And then other people who may have built who are like me and they do have a preference to build their own terrain, well, they could still play with this stuff just to mix it up. Like, you can get this stuff just to mix up how you play. So again, this is only a good thing, I would say. I say there's no negatives here. Is it again?
I do just want to let you know I am going to have to split in about 15 minutes.
We'll end the podcast now then.
I still got 15 minutes. I'm not trying to be a dick about it. It's just we've been going for almost 3.5 hours.
Oh yeah, now's a good time to end it anyway. I would say like 3 hours. Like, this has probably been the fastest 3 hours I've had in a while. But yeah, we've probably been dragging this out a little while longer than we usually do.
Just because my rain's not here, that's what she said.
Huh?
I was saying just because my rain is not here to get the joke, and I said that is what she said.
Okay. So okay, so yep. So I really don't know how to end this, to be honest. I'm trying to think of the words. I'm like, how do I end this? Well, anyway, thanks to everybody who joined the podcast. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys, liked hearing us talk about 40K and like the little matchups. When we did, I kind of rated it. I took control a little longer than I should have. I'm sorry about that, Ludus.
No, don't apologize. It's fine, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of went rogue with this one. But I still had fun. I hope Ludus had fun. I hope everybody had fun. And it was fun to hang out and chill. I'm probably about to lose my voice because I can actually feel my throat tightening up. But anyway, thanks. This was a lot of fun. Hope everybody had fun, and see you guys later. This has been the Geekiest Theoreticus podcast. My name is Asbegon.
And I'm Ludus Infinium.
And we'll see you guys next time. End. Yeah, and we're good.